not being met. So I'm not gonna hate on the guy for something that's taking place. And here's one also that won't be realized until early next year, but nevertheless, this is a campaign promise from Chief.
I'm announcing today that under my leadership, the United States will commit to the ambitious goal of slashing energy and electricity prices by half, at least half. We intend to slash prices by half within 12 months, at a maximum 18 months. And if it doesn't work out, you'll say, oh, well, I voted for him.
So he's promising to reduce your light by half within 12 months, and then he said maybe at most 18 months. So obviously, 12 months is next month, January 20th or something like that. That'll be 12 months since he's been in office. I mean, is your energy prices looking like they're anywhere near on the trajectory cut in half? Now, I'm asking, we're simply talking about or asking the question, why do you love Trump, and tackling the adoration for President Trump? In the comments section, a mercenary says Trump has done most of the things he said he would do already. And that's what we're talking about. Now, I'm curious. When you say he's done most, I would love to get a list. What do you say? He's done most of the things he said he would do already. I'm going to give you what I noted down before the live. Now, we talked about ending the war in 24 hours in Ukraine, Russia. Now, you can tell me, do you think he's ended the war between Russia and Ukraine, and did he achieve it in 24 hours? The economy is something he promised to reduce prices. You heard the clips there on day one. Do you believe he's straightened out the stated on day one? Now, no new wars. I don't know if he campaigned on it, but it certainly was discussed that under Trump, or better yet, under Obama and Biden and Bush, there were all these wars, and under Trump, there were no new wars. Now, what's looking like is developing in Venezuela probably is going to exclude Trump from being able to suggest that no new wars happened under his watch. It's pretty clear that we're on course to have a war with Venezuela. How quick it'll be over, we can debate that, but you wouldn't put all of those assets in the region unless something was about to happen. So the no new wars campaign promise, we can talk about that. America first. Have you seen what looks like a trajectory of putting Americans first? I'll let you answer that. Now, here's what I wrote down. The Law and Order Party, you know, the Democrats letting out criminals and things like that, and not taking crimes. Riley, the woman that was stabbed on the subway or the train in North Carolina, the Democrats don't take crime seriously. They don't punish criminals, the Law and Order Party. But President Trump continues to pardon white-collar criminals over and over. Just pardoned another one today. Just pardoned another Bernie Madoff type guy today. So, Law and Order Party, I'll let you guys tackle that one. Tariffs. Now, he did campaign on imposing tariffs. I'll let you, in the comments, we'll be talking about whether or not that's a good thing. Now, obviously, everything regarding Epstein, in regards to the Trump administration, has been a campaign failure. I don't know what he campaigned on in regards to Epstein, but we've had nothing but resistance and secrecy. In addition to the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell is now in minimum security prison with no explanation how that happened. So the whole Epstein scenario, let me know how you judge it, but I don't see how anything positive from the Trump administration has come out of the Epstein saga. Why Ghislaine Maxwell is in minimum security, none of us have any clue. All we can do is speculate. Bailing out Argentina, did he campaign on that? Because that would not qualify as America first, would it not? Bailing out Argentina? Did he do everything for Americans before doing that, or is that? Let me know. Last but not least, the price of healthcare going up. Now, he talked about repealing and replacing Obamacare and giving you better. Has he? So when you say he's actually met most of his campaign promises, I would like to know what you're talking about. So let me know. And I see in the comments someone says a dozen of eggs were $1.99 last week. Now, egg prices have went down under Trump. We can talk about the bird flu or whatever the case may be, but under Biden, egg prices were higher. So anyhow, tap the screen, get us up to 10,000. You guys know how the program is ran. I'll start taking callers and comments immediately. We are MAGA friendly, been MAGA friendly since day one, always will be MAGA friendly. Today, I want to hear from more MAGA. We're going to certainly tackle a lot more comments from the MAGA side of the aisle. Hopefully, I want to hear the simple question asked, which is, why do you love them so much? I want to hear from MAGA, but I do want to hear from the liberals, and maybe you can also speculate on why do Trump supporters love him so much? Despite as what I just played to you, a lot of Trump promises, campaign promises, have not been met. So where is the love coming from? Black Wing Zero. Good evening. Welcome to the program, Black Wing. The love for Trump seems to be undying. Black Wing, are you there?
If you're looking to get, yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Here's what's going on. This is the reason why basically Trump supporters love Trump. He's a reality TV star, and he was on TV, and they think they can relate to him. And also, their views on other minorities, they don't want to say out in the blue, but guess what? Trump is saying it for them. Like the thing about trans people. Here's the thing, though. Do you know? I've done the research. Do you know to run into a transgender man and a transgender woman is the same as basically being struck by lightning?
To run? Wait. Let me make sure I clear, just for people that didn't hear this on other platforms. So you're saying the odds of running into a transgender man and a transgender woman are equivalent to being struck by lightning at the same time?
At the same time, they said, this is too soon to make up. I've done the research. It's more likely stepping in dog doo-doo twice.
So it's really that rare, huh? You got a loud background. You got a TV on or something in the background?
Yeah, I'm trying to find my remote.
Yeah, because it's really loud.
Okay, here.
Okay.
Like it's that rare. It's that rare to basically run into basically a person of the LGBTQA community, because it's only 15%. The same here's the thing. Now, we're a much larger percent, even though we're 13.7, but still, that's still considered as a census. So I'm literally going like this. The chances of you running into a gay couple, a transgendered woman, a transgendered man, a non-binary is less than 1.
Well, how about this, though? In the comments, Mercenary on YouTube says they hang out in groups. You see many of them together all the time. So maybe it's where you're at.
Why y'all looking for them? Clearly you're looking for them. Let's keep it real. If you find a whole ass group full of them, you was looking for them.
Well, listen, if you're a transgender woman and you're doing things right, nobody should know you were born a man, right?
Here's the thing, though. If you're a transgender woman, that means you're living your fucking life the way you deserve to live your life. It's your life. It's not my life. It's not anybody else's life. But the people that's basically taking their everlasting time on affecting a person that's less than 1%, like 1% of people that you will run into, guess what? If you was looking for that transgender woman, either one or two things: you were out scouting to do a hate crime, or you was out basically trying to get fucked.
Oh my God! Well, wait a minute.
Let me tell you, as a security guard for 25 years, working in hotel security for almost 10 years. Let me tell you this right now. Let's just say there's a people who saw Cookie many times, if you know what I mean. And let me just tell you, Cookie wasn't the one bending over.
Wait a minute. So what are you trying to say? There's some secret relationships with transgender people?
Oh, go to the Marriott. There's a whole damn plethora of them in every different category.
So if it's that many of it, if there's that much of this shit happening, then it sounds like transgender people are not as rare as you're saying. They're finding plenty of them to get with.
No. DL, here's the thing. DL men in general. DL men in general is not that rare. Because I'm going like this. Then curiosity kills the cat. And let me just tell you this right now. There are a lot of damn curious men that basically want to hide their little secret. And guess what? They look for these kind of people. They know where to look for them.
Curious straight men are secretly looking for trans women.
I'm literally saying this. This is too soon to make up. The number one category that is looked up is transgendered. You know.
I don't know. And I don't want to ever admit I know, so I don't know. I'm never going to say I know that.
And keep it that way. I'm literally saying this for people that basically that against transphobia, here's the thing, that are transphobia, keyword, phobia. There is a thing in this country called negrophobia.
But I'm going to ask, I'm going to go full circle. What the hell does this have to do with President Trump, though? Why do they love Trump so much?
They elevate his words on banning men out of sports, banning transgender bathrooms, everything they fear. This is one of their books.
So is it just all? Is it all trans? So they just love him because of how he's dealing with trans?
Oh, it's not just that. It's dealing with everybody else.
Examples.
Everything they basically. How many times you got on this damn app and heard 1350? Another boogeyman. How many times you got on this app but say welfare queens? Another boogeyman. It's the boogeymans that basically they freaking fear.
Well, wait a minute. For folks who don't hold on. For folks who don't know, 1350 means that blacks are only 13% of the population, but represent 50% of the criminals. Now, folks are going to swear up and down that's true. So how are you going to tell me that 1350 is not based on what?
Okay, here's the thing. Let's deviate the facts. Now, you know I live in numbers. Now, when I first met you, I lived in numbers. 13.7% of the population by the Census Bureau is basically listed as basically the population of the black community. Mind you, 8.4% of us are female or declaring womanhood. 8.4%. Men, black women outnumber black men 4-1. 4-1. It's a 2-2 to make up. For every black man, there's 4 black women. So I'm literally going like this.
How does that happen? How are there so many additional black women compared to black men? Is that true? 4 times?
Blame slavery for that. Blame slavery for that.
I'm trying to figure out, there's 4 times as many black women than black men?
Yep.
It's because we're getting all shot and killed in drive-bys or something? How is that happening?
No. It's basically the fact that that's right. You're more likely, and this is basically by the Department of Health and the Department of Labor, actually. You're more like a black family is more likely to have a daughter than basically a son.
I haven't heard this. Now, see, Dinkel says the war on drugs, suggesting, I guess, that they're taking black men out of the equation by locking them up.
But here's the thing, though. You got to also imagine this. There's a lot of things that's calculated. 1, military. 2, basically unallotment. Now, they really basically going on the single mother households. Let me tell you this right now. They never figure out the reason why. We had this conversation before. They never figure out the reason why that basically a black woman is a single mom. A woman can be living with her boyfriend and they just not married, which is the number one reason that basically that black women are not basically single moms. On taxes, it's on paper. So we got to be physically married to basically please your boogeyman. No. Okay. They're more likely a co-parent. There could be something going on that they don't have the time.
But let's be
deal with a fucking marriage.
But Blackwing, let's be clear. In black communities, there is a hell of a lot of crime out in the open, is it not?
To be honest with you, here's the thing though. When it comes down to that, it's poverty crime. Because if it was more opportunities in this country, crime would be lower and lower. We've seen it in Los Angeles. We've seen it in Oakland. We've seen it in Texas. We've seen it in basically Florida. If there was more opportunities for people, especially of color, we wouldn't have the problems. There should be no jobs being shipped out than being shipped in.
Okay.
There should be more jobs shipped in than shipped out.
Okay, but let me ask it to you this way. There are poor white neighborhoods as well. There are poor white neighborhoods as well. Is there an equal amount of crime out in the open? People, hold on. Is there an equal amount? Wait, Black Wing, let's have a conversation. Is there an equal amount of catalytic converters and drive-bys and all of the same stuff happening in poor white communities as there are poor black communities? Black Wing, are you there?
I'm here. Here's the thing, though.
Okay.
When it comes down to YET communities, this is what I'm saying to this. They do not want to see in the mirror. 69% of the violent crime in this country is happening by white males. 69%. And mostly it's usually violent. We just had
what percentage by black males?
2 mass unalivings. Here's the thing: we have had 2 mass unalivings just in California alone. One in Stockton, one in San Jose. Both of them white males or white pastor males. One was Latino. So
what percentage by black males? You said 69% by whites. What is by blacks?
Well, one, we're not the blacks, it's black people, and I really can't stand when y'all call us that. I'm really
y'all. What the fuck am I? What? I mean, you gave me 69. You gave me 69. African Americans, colored, whatever you want to call them.
About 20. It is a high percentage. It's only 24%.
So,
It's in most of the y'all going by the arrest rate. Y'all never go by the conviction
I'm
rate.
going by what numbers you're giving. I'm asking for your numbers. I'm not going by anything but what you're saying.
When it comes down to conviction rate, it's 60. When it comes down to the conviction rate, it's 69% in white communities. When it comes down to the conviction rate of black communities, it's 24. Because guess what? 72% of basic convictions in the black community are exonerated.
But 24, okay, 69, which is, I guess,
The
about.
number's too high.
No, wait a minute. What percentage of the population is white?
Yes. So here's the thing though. But this thing though, when it comes down to this, they usually see, and this is true to make up. We have seen basically training facilities. We have seen black officers betraying criminals. Also being, this is way too stupid to make up, becoming becoming basically CIs in predominantly black areas because they're black.
But you're admitting that blacks commit more. I mean, you're saying whites have 69% of violent crime. Whites are about 60 some odd percent of the population.
You're more likely to be in a mass unaliving. You're more likely to be unalived.
But you said that ain't what we're talking about though. You're changing the subject though. You said 69% of violent crimes are committed by whites. Now you're going to mask it, but you said 69% of violent crimes are committed by whites. Whites are about 60-some% of the population. You said blacks commit 24%. That's way higher than their representation of the population. So blacks are committing more crimes by your numbers.
By the conviction, yes. Not by the basic exoneration, because the exoneration and the arrest don't match. Even though basically it's the number one crime that basically the violent crime they consider is drug possession. Is drug possession. That's the
you said violent. We talked about violent crime. I asked you what percentage of violent crimes.
According to Reagan. Here's the thing though. According to Reagan, Nixon, and also many of the black caucus in the Republican Party consider drug dealers a bane of the black community because of the single mother household.
So why the hell this is getting off topic, but why the hell do MAGA love Trump so much? I don't know if it's because of this what we're talking about. There's got to be more, right?
It's got to be. Here's the thing. Think about this though. Look how Trump was talking. Look how how Trump was talking during the debate. He said that Haitians eat
cats and dogs.
He said, and they went on with that. There's still people that say that.
And they love him for that?
I'm saying that.
They love Trump because he said Haitians are eating cats and dogs?
No, not because of that. No, but here's the thing. This is another one. They said that immigrants are taking their jobs. That's the biggest one.
Okay, that might be true. There may be some validity to that.
They're getting welfare. They're getting welfare help and subsidized housing, which is not even happening.
I don't know. I mean, are you 100% sure that illegal immigrants or immigrants are not getting any welfare at all? Are you 100% certain of that?
I work for the Standards California Homeless Division, and most of our damn veterans are basically getting housed.
So 100%, 100%, no undocumented immigrant is getting any type of entitlements or social programs.
No, they living with their family, but they sharing a house, probably sharing a house with basically 6 or 7 relatives, most likely. They get a big enough house that basically their whole family can live in.
So based on what you're saying, is it just hatred for other people? I mean, is that why they love Trump? That's what it sounds like you're saying.
It is, because guess what? They only worried, we have had this conversation, they only worried about the southern border. What's on the southern border? Most people of color.
Well, that's where most of the people come in the country illegally too, though, right?
No, most people of color. Because think about this. Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Haiti, Puerto Rico is a basic.
Where were the migrants?
Puerto Rico.
When you had all of those big,
Puerto Rico was basically one of those people.
When you had all these big caravans of migrants, where were they coming across the southern or northern border?
No, the southern. If
right.
they close all the borders, wouldn't the northern border get the exact same treatment?
Well, because
if not worse.
You're not going to have migrants full of Canadians coming across the southern border. I mean, you're going to use your resources where they're needed.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a group called the HAs, the outlaws, the pagans that have a firm stronghold in Canada.
So let me
New York.
So let me ask you this, Blackwing. If you were in charge of controlling the border, you would spend your resources on the northern and southern borders equally?
No, this is what I would do. Open more. Here's the thing. This is too soon to make up. Biden did it. This is way too soon to make up. Just hire more guards to be at the border. And also make it more easier for people to become citizens in this country. Because it shouldn't take 10 years for basically a person to see a judge.
Even if you made it so, even if you've done what you're suggesting, do you think that would lead to you using the resources equally at both borders? All of the stuff you're saying, make it easier and all this, you're still going to have a lot more people coming across the southern border. There's just way more activity on the southern border than there is the northern.
Then the Republicans' views is to build a wall that clearly doesn't work because more immigrants come in planes and trains than they do basically, I don't know, coming through a tunnel or basically climbing a fence.
I don't know.
Like, we're spending billions of dollars on a wall, but we can't put $3 billion into education.
That ain't what they're.
Healthcare?
They got a different opinion. Blackwing, I got to move it on, but you know Trump stance on education. He wants to get rid of the Department of Education. So your stance on that is totally different.
He wants to make here's the thing. The more stupider the person, the better the customer. Prove me wrong.
All right. Blackwing, appreciate you coming through. The more stupider the person, the better the customer. He's not the first I've heard say that. That's a strong statement. In the comments, Mama Clark says they have been promised jobs, Tim. If there is no work, they won't be here. Now, I've said that before on some lives quite a ways back, that they're coming here for jobs as opposed to free health care and food stamps. If you actually go after the Americans that are hiring them, I personally believe, as Mama Clark has said, it would make a big deal. I think it would make a big difference if you actually punish the Americans, because we're not really punishing Americans that are hiring these people. We just make it sound like the immigrants are doing all this on their own. Anyway, look in the comments. Handsome sticky fingers. Moses Mike Johnson. He's a tweaker. He's like men. He is a freak. This is in regards to the what is the app that all of these folks are not. What is the name of the app? Grindr. He said Moses Mike Johnson he's a tweaker. He likes men. I haven't heard any evidence of that. He's a freak. So what else is new? What is your ignorant point? Just get you the facts. I haven't heard that Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, likes men, sticky fingers. Tim, I think your caller is a tweaker. Talking about Black Wing Zero I just spoke to. I think he might be running late to catch the drugs at the corner of 7-Eleven. I smell drugs. He's a little bit passionate in his opinion, just like many of you folks are as well. So what we're asking, as you see on the board behind me, or on the monitor behind me, why do MAGA love Trump so much? I'm trying to get conversation going with MAGA. Certainly, I want to hear more from MAGA. Obviously, the liberals have their own opinion. You heard my last caller. We'll go to the next caller shortly. Tap the screen, get the likes up to 25. But looking in the comments, trying to hear some MAGA. Try white boy trying a black man how he should raise his family. Never happened. We live differently. I like that, Mercenary. So, Mercenary, you might be the one to tell me, why does MAGA love and adore President Trump so much? My humble opinion is that he has not met many of his campaign promises. So I want to know, with him failing on so many campaign promises, it's only been a year, but some of the campaign promises he made, you can't make them up. I mean, you promised to end the war in 24 hours. It doesn't matter. You can't, even if you end it in the next 3 years, you've already failed at that. Same thing with grocery prices, getting them down on day one. He's made a lot of promises that it's impossible to meet already because he promised to do these things so quickly. So what I'm asking is, why is there such a strong amount of love and adoration for President Trump, even though the economy is not great right now, despite him promising that it's the best it's ever been? Him talking about he's putting America first while bailing out Argentina. The promises on the Epstein list and Epstein files has been nothing but a complete failure. Healthcare costs are going up. So it's a host of his campaign promises that are not coming true. So I'm asking, how, et cetera, et cetera. How does the love remain so strong when he's clearly not delivering on a host of things? One of the viewers, 229, says, we all love Trump. I get you love him. Nothing wrong with loving the guy. I'm just trying to figure out, how does the love stay so strong when he's simply not delivering? Considering Trump inherited the worst economy in 60 years, I'm actually shocked you guys even mention the economy at all. I'm mentioning the economy good job because President Trump promised he would do a lot more for the economy than he has now. You're suggesting that he's inherited the worst economy in 60 years. If you know that, he knew that when he was promising to turn it around on day one. So why did he make a promise of being able to turn around the worst economy in 60 years in one day, 1 week, 1 month? Why did he make that promise, and how do we view it that he is failing miserably on said promise? Things and times change with time. If I lie, sure, you could call me out. Look, we're not giving out participation trophies here. Either you succeed at your promise or you fail, period. If you say you can do something in a month, I don't want to hear in 6 months, well, he is trying. That's called a participation trophy. Let me go back to the box. Either he makes it or he doesn't. It's as simple as that. Daryl Withers, good afternoon, or better yet, good evening. Welcome to the program, Daryl, if it brings him up. Or you blame Biden and Obama for everything. That does happen as well. He is saying on day one, he will begin turning it around. Use your head. It takes more than a day to make changes. So when he said he was going to end the Ukraine-Russian war in 24 hours, that actually meant on day one, he was going to turn it around. That's not saying shit. You're saying that he is saying on day one, he will begin turning it around. Okay, what I want to know is, when is the fucking ending? If you begin turning it around on day one and it takes 4 years for it to be complete, like, when is the end? I don't want to hear what you're beginning. When does it end? He'll begin. I mean, that's a really kind way of trying to explain it. That makes no sense. He didn't promise to begin with no ending of doing shit. I don't get that. Let me know more. There's more fatherless white children ages 1 day to 16 years alone than combined black children population in America. Damn, percentages, the money still accounts for population. Last caller makes Uncle Ruckus look like DMX. Damn, free lunch, Freddie. Well, let me just say this. Thank you for your support, free lunch. I'll go to the next caller. Real quick, when you say there's more fatherless white children ages 1 to 16 years alone than a combined black children population in America. First of all, keep in mind, blacks only represent 13% of the population. Whites represent like 60% of the population. So that could still not necessarily get blacks off the hook, because even if 50% of black children were fatherless, which is a lot, because they have such a much larger population. I mean, 13% to 60%, what is that, about four times as much? More than four? I mean, that's a lot. So I get what you're saying, but when you look at it in terms of scale, that doesn't say quite as much. And you say damn percentages, the money still accounts for population. I don't quite understand what you're saying, but I do understand what you said. The last caller makes Uncle Ruckus look like DMX. That's what they say about yours truly. I would love Trump the Dumpty after when he puts on an orange suit. You would love him how? Let me go back to the box. Continuing on, I don't know what happened with my last call, but we'll go to the Honorable Miss Mo Better. Good afternoon, Miss Mo Better.
Good evening.
My time of day reference is awful. I'm having a Biden moment. So let me ask you, why do they love the man so much? I know you lean left. I know you're not a Trump fan, but we're going to speculate here as I'm having MAGA comments come in as well. When I see the MAGA comments, I will throw them at you as well. But why do they love President Trump so much?
Well, it's like you were saying when it came to Kamala, it was an anti-Trump is the reason why they voted for her. It's anti-LBGTQ and anti-woman that voted for him. Even with the women having votes for him. See, most of the women that actually voted for him are married women. They have to do what their husbands say. They still live in the likes of 1935, 45, and 55. They're still living in those eras where the woman shouldn't vote.
All right, wait. Are most women married? Because he won the woman's vote handily. Before you answer that, though,
most of those women.
Hold on. Okay, fair enough. Before you answer that, how about this here? I cannot pronounce the name, but I'll just say 599. Thanks for the support. Says people like Trump, because he is not a politician. He is a private citizen. Wow. For years, we have been dealing with career politicians trading off running the country. Now, as to Trump is getting things done in 3 years to go. So he's saying that, look, Trump, the love for Trump is because he's not a career politician. He's not selling us out. He's saying that for years we've been dealing with career politics. I'm reading it to you.
Listen, do you see my face? How hard it was for me to keep that laughing? I have a sore throat right now. But how they say he's not he's a politician now.
Yeah.
He's one now. He's became a politician the day he was sworn in.
But so let me play the devil's advocate. Let me put on my MAGA hat. What about the notion that, unlike many other politicians, he ain't afraid to call out fraudulent politicians? He ain't afraid. He don't take the professional out.
He is the fraud, Tim. You can have that fluff. He is the fucking fraud.
What? How is he?
He's out here unaliving. He done unalived 80 people that have no clue who the fuck they was.
Well,
how many jobs? How many jobs have been lost? Over 1 million jobs has been lost since he's taken office.
Well, first of all,
from American people, that has nothing to do with the migrants.
First of all, you're claiming that Trump is unalived. You talk about the Venezuelan boats, and listen, I am one to say also that he needs to provide evidence, but just like there's no evidence that the people he's been taking out are Venezuelan drug dealers, there's also no evidence that they're not. So we can't say he took 80 lives, 80 innocent lives. You don't
kill somebody on an assumption, Tim. You don't do that. That's murder.
Okay.
That's murder.
Well, no, you're saying it's an assumption. For all we know, he may have evidence. It just is classified so you can't see it.
Listen. This is what he did. He pardoned the Honduras man for the drug cartel. Did he not do that today?
I don't have any. I don't have an answer for that. I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, so why is he so much against the D-Rugs? Why would he pardon him? Why would he pardon him?
Well, according to Trump, the guy was treated unfairly. I'm just giving you what the man is saying. I know it sounds a bit harsh.
He's not a. Sorry, I got a call.
Okay.
He's not a man. He's a little boy. He acts like a 5-year-old, a tyrant. Soon as somebody say something to him he don't like, or somebody that he actually favors their dictatorship or something, he gloats on that stuff. He hypes it up. He you know what I'm saying?
But that's one reason why
numbers.
That's one reason why a lot of folks like Trump is that he punches back. He don't just let you sit back and attack him. He hits back. A lot of people like that.
Back to though, Tim. What is he actually punching back to?
People insulting him. People saying things he thinks about him is false.
Come on, tell him to grow the fuck up. Then how about that? Grow your ass up. When you become a man, you got to put those childish things away. Throwing tantrums is a child's play.
But what does grow up mean? Just let people say shit about you and
how much did people say about Obama? How many times did you see him getting up on camera going, "Oh, you shut up, piggy"?
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but
that's kid shit.
But that's what I'm saying. A lot of people like him because he is not a professional. He don't come at it professional and just let you.
That's cult-like behavior, Tim. That's cult-like behavior, but yet they want to talk about patriotism and people being adults and growing up. If that's the case, let's all go back to fuck the school and let Trump take care of us then. Because that's what's happening. He's acting like a bunch of goddamn school kids.
How is it cult-like for them to favor him defending himself against attacks?
They are favoring him being disrespectful because what's going at him are not attacks. When somebody asks him a question to prove some shit that was blatantly seen, that's not an attack because I asked you a question that you cannot answer. The first thing he does is attack them, call them stupid, trying to immoralize them, trying to go at their character. That's not defending himself. That's him being unpresidential. That's him being a tyrant 5-year-old little boy.
Well, I think the notion is they believe that these reporters coming from news networks that are anti-Trump or even fake news, as Trump says, they believe these reporters are trying to ask gotcha questions just to make Trump look bad, and therefore they're okay with him defending himself in those manners.
So the thing is, he could never prove anything for them to them that they're saying wrong. Prove what they're saying wrong. All right, if they ask you a bad question, why can't you give the proper answer?
Wait. Say that again. I don't. Okay.
If he feels that those reporters are asking him wrong questions, then why doesn't he give us the proper answers? All right, no, that's not what happened. The first thing he does is attack them. Come on, Tim. It doesn't take rocket science for none of this shit.
Well, listen, President Trump does not tolerate dissent very well. I get that. Here, let me give it to you this way.
He tolerate shit. He couldn't tolerate his wives. He couldn't tolerate his children. He couldn't tolerate shit. Now they up here talking about his MRI. If they gave you an MRI because there is something wrong, they nothing but a bunch of lying.
No, that's not. What about giving them an MRI because they think or they want to give a second check to something or something like that?
That means there was something wrong.
Okay, I've had an MRI and it came back that there was nothing wrong with me. I mean, maybe they just wanted to give it a second look.
Possibly.
How about this? We talked about career. How about this? We talked about career politicians. 599 says Biden was a senator during the Reagan administration. So to make the point, a career politician is a politician that's been in politics most of their lives. Look at Congress; it's a retirement home. Some can't even walk. So they like Trump for the fact that he ain't been living off the government dough his whole life. Is that not a legitimate reason to like him?
What I want people to take these two words, manner and intent. Manner and intent. Y'all take those two words and look them up. Then you compare it to his fucking life of how a lot of shit. One of the things he got, half of his inheritance, he got it from his father. His father gave him a big ass bag to start what he's doing. If he would have fucked that up, that would have been on him, number one. Number two, how many after he was fucking up the money that his father got? What was the manner as to where he got to his riches? It was horrible because if not Tim, he wouldn't be convicted of 34 felonies right now.
But did he actually fuck up the money his father gave? He states all the time. He states all the time.
Fuck the investments up. That's what he did.
But that's not what he states all the time. That he got only $1 million loan from his dad, and he's made it into $1 billion business.
Oh my God. You could give him that credit. I don't. You can give him that credit. I don't. He invested, and they keep saying, "Oh, he's not. He's a horrible businessman." That's why he keeps jumping from business to business to business because he keeps fucking up,
bro.
Which is what he's doing. So he's selling us out. We for sale, but for anybody.
I don't know.
You could come in there with the right price. Come in there with a three-legged donkey that said it's the best in the world, and he gonna sell that shit. He gonna sell us the fuck out.
Well, they claim, listen, the argument is that Trump, not only did he not take a salary, but because he has his own money, he's the politician you want in office if you don't want to be sold out. He
didn't. All right. So you saying he didn't take a salary. How much does the president make per year?
About $500,000.
About $500,000. Okay. When he's going through inside trading and all that stuff, how much was happening?
Well, he hasn't. He has not been convicted of insider trading.
All right. Well, listen. What did he do with his salary?
I don't know. He donated it, from what I'm hearing.
To whom? Exactly. We don't know because he's lying like a motherfucker, and that's just why he won't show his taxes. He won't show none of that stuff. And they keep talking about on his promises. And, come on. First of all, we know gas is stable, but that's all supply.
Gas ain't stable. Gas is down under President Trump. Does he get credit for that?
How much is it down, Tim? It's not down where I'm saying. It went up 10 cents since last week where I live.
Compared to this time last year, you're telling me gas prices have not went down?
No. Where did it go? Gas changes every day, Tim. That stuff fluctuates week by week by week. That goes to show you it's about supply and demand. It has nothing to do with what he's doing. It's always been that way. It has nothing to do with what the president's doing. The price of eggs, the eggs went back down because the bird flu went away. It's not because he went in there and negotiated anything.
I'm just going to say, I don't recall gas prices being as low as they are right now, December 1 of 2024. You're saying gas prices were the same right now, last year this time as they are right now.
Yeah, and they might have been 10 to 20 cents more.
I didn't see that.
More. But listen, he wants to take credit for every fucking thing. Why won't he take credit for the fuck ups? Why won't he take credit for the fuck up? If it wasn't for C-19, if you had stuck to the plan C-19, we wouldn't be in none of this position. A lot of this position right now.
I don't
give him a lot of it right now, and that's the God's honest truth.
Yeah, I don't give him credit on COVID-19, but I'm just
that was horrible. That's a lot of blood on his hands.
All right. Is there anything this man can do to get you to like him?
No, his character is bad. I'm sorry. He has a bad character. He's a bad spirit, and I can't fuck with that. I'm sorry.
What do you mean by before I move on, define bad spirit? What do you mean when you say he's a bad spirit?
See, bad spirit. What happens is. Even when they do good things, he allows the spirit in him to supersede the good things, and he attacks other people. That's what that bad spirit does. He always attacking other people, good, bad, or indifferent. He's always on the attack.
I'm hearing
he attacked good people that were up there actually doing their jobs and shit like that.
I'm hearing that this man could not hardly get a day free to do anything for this country because so many people were attacking him, and he just got fed up and he's firing shots back. I'm hearing folks
look what he did. He started a whole insurrection, Tim. He started a whole insurrection. How is people supposed to rock with that? We've seen it. We've seen it, and we believe what our eyes showed us.
Go peacefully and patriotically is what I'm hearing. That was
after the fact. After he told him to go down there and fight like hell. Did he not do that?
I recall hearing that as well.
Do we not know that words matter?
To some, yeah.
Y'all get out of there. That's not how we do things. Y'all shut it down. He didn't say none of that.
But
he didn't do none of that. Even when and then Then had the nerve to say people still saying that, oh, Nancy Pelosi had the power to call the National Guard. So did he, and he didn't.
Yeah.
And he kept saying he didn't. He got National Guardsmen out here on the street being unalive right now, Tim.
You blaming him for that too, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I believe this is my opinion. I believe that was more of a personal attack. Not on her, but for him.
Wait. Personal attack on Trump?
Trump. Yep. To show him that you putting these people out there, you really can't stop nothing.
So you believe this man, this Afghan national, traveled from the state of Washington all the way to D.C. to deliver a message that he was against the actions of President Trump?
And Trump vetted him. Trump granted him the asylum, and that Botox, bubble lip Kristi Noem getting up there saying, "Oh well, Biden, they hundreds of thousands of people in here." All right, so if y'all knew all of this information in January or February, and y'all still granted those people asylum, why is Biden even being brought up in this?
Well, somebody
Why y'all didn't send their ass home? Why y'all didn't send their ass home? She really tried that fuck shit. Talk about, oh well, in the process, in the information that I was like, if somebody don't get this bitch another shot in her lips, so it could blow him up to the point where she can't move them shits. Where's the fucking mute button? Where the fuck is the mute button when them bitches get on TV? Her and that Carolina ass levy.
I gotta move it on, but you know the weird thing is, because when Christina was on TV and I'm watching an episode of South Park, I went and looked her up on the internet, and yeah, if you go look up Kristi Noem, there are pictures of her 10 years or so ago. She looks like a totally different woman now. Wow.
I'm telling you, listen, Pete Hegseth, all of them, that you know what their agenda was, get private jets and beauty salons, so they can have a personal room, so they can get all pretty and shit. You know what's gonna happen though, right? Trump gonna throw all their asses under the bus.
That remains to be seen. Mr. Mobetta, appreciate you coming through. We'll see.
Don't say I ain't tell you so.
We'll be talking. Thank you.
All right.
Moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen. Get your Wow, I'm getting hammered today. We're talking about why do people love Trump. Tap the screen, get the lights on up to 40,000. We can do that if you let your thumbs not be lazy. This program is MAGA friendly, always MAGA friendly, always has been, always will be. MAGA are my preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome. Ed G says, Republicans were against slavery. Denkow, thank you very much. Republicans were against slavery and later against Jim Crow laws. Democrats defended it. Republicans helped give women the right to vote. Democrats opposed it. Tell us how the Republicans are the racist misogynists. Oh my God. I could go into a lot about that. Obviously, if you're giving the Republicans credit for ending slavery and defending all this stuff, you probably don't adhere or believe in the party switch. So I'll leave it at that. If you don't believe in that, there's not much of an argument to be made. So we'll leave it at that. But I will just tell you, most of like for instance, you fight against the Confederates to free slaves, and then you start defending the Confederates and their statues and honoring them. So somebody switched something somewhere. But I'll leave it at that. Trump inherited $2 million. Here's another point. Trump only became hated because he stopped giving to the Democratic Party and ran against them. Before running for president, nobody said anything about him. Explain that. That is true to some degree. People in New York were accusing Trump of fraud because of his corporate antics, not paying people and things like that. But the rest of that I do agree with, but I'll tell you why. Nobody was saying Hillary Clinton was drinking the blood of infants before she ran for president. When Senator Obama was a senator, nobody was saying he was born in Kenya. Fact is, when you run for office, crazy shit comes out. People make up stuff about you. That is kind of what happens. Kamala Harris. Remember that? That wasn't happening when she was a senator. Nobody was really saying she slept her way to the top and bringing up Willie Brown. When you run for president, people will dirty you up something awful. Trump is no exclusion to that. Trump is not excluded from that. Trump himself was also part of the whole Obama was born in Kenya movement. So, I mean, look, and my guess is the next person that runs after Trump will have new shit brought up about them that you never heard of as well. That's kind of what happens. I mean, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, were people really questioning his military service or talking about tampons in bathrooms before he ran for president? When you run for president, people gonna dig up the worst on you. That's just the way it works. All of this is just hate for one man. And January 6th was a poor example of an insurrection. People in the Middle East even stated when they have an insurrection, they succeed. Well, it could be exactly what you're saying there, 599. It could be a poor example of an insurrection, but that doesn't mean it's not an insurrection. Let's go by your words. It could be a poor example of one. Everything that people attempt does not always succeed. Keep in mind right now, there is a former leader in Brazil that President Trump favors who has been held accountable and prosecuted for an insurrection in Brazil. And that would also be counted as a poor insurrection because he failed, but he was convicted of such. Real quick in the comments, it's financial accountability. If I give you $1 million to buy all black kids ice cream and $1 million for white kids, I say bring back leftover surplus. Who brings back more? Concept welfare to say. Let me read that again. I don't get that. Free lunch, Freddie. You says it's financial responsibility. That's easy enough to give. If I give you $1 million to buy all black kids ice cream and $1 million for all white kids, and I say bring back the leftover surplus, who brings back more money? Concept. Okay, fair enough. There's less blacks, so you should have more change coming from the blacks. I get that part. I don't get the welfare tie into that. I'm clueless on that. His father bailed him out several times, says SGB. So in other words, Trump's businesses were failing, says one viewer, and Fred Trump bailed him out several times. I don't know. I haven't heard that. Last thing I'll say, Republicans and Democrats switched ideology after the war. It was once written, a good leader takes little more share of the blame than share of the credit. Trump needs to learn that. Yeah, or it could be referred to Free Lunch Freddie as the buck stops here, or the buck stops with me. Appreciate your support. Love the name. Let me go back to the box, tap the screen, and get us on up to 90,000. We'll go ahead and continue on with Dencal. Good evening, Dencal. Welcome to the program. So we're talking about the love and adoration for President Trump. I got a host of MAG on YouTube telling me. Now, you obviously lean left, but I mean, look, a lot of his campaign promises have not been met. Yet folks are suggesting that Trump is the best president we've ever had, at least in our lifetime, if not in American history. Why do you think that is, Dencal?
Well, I mean, I don't think that we can have an intelligent conversation if people deny basic facts. Like, if they say he's the best president ever, and then you ask, like, what has he done? And then they just change the whole conversation and all of this crazy stuff that's not what he promised. Then how can we go back and forth and try to prove our point? Like, they're dealing in an alternate reality. Just saying he's the best president means nothing if you don't have anything quantifiable. Just by saying, oh, well, he shut down the border. Well, all of that shit's in court right now, going through all of these judges that keep saying that shit's wrong. Because he did it through executive order does not mean he accomplished anything.
You know, that's a fair point. And I guess I'll ask my MAGA viewers, because for folks who do believe he's one of the best, if not the best we've ever had, the simple question, which is what my caller is asking now, what has he actually done? That is a great question. For you folks, talking to my beloved MAGA in the chat, state that. What has President Trump actually accomplished or did to help for you to give him that label that he's the best president ever? So Dencal, what are you saying? He's accomplished nothing?
They can't. I keep this little thing by my desk so I can reiterate his promises. Gas under $2, lower grocery prices, a 50% decrease in car insurance. Landlords will reduce rent, a la Mamdani. Home prices will go down. We're going to have sub 3% interest rates. We're going to have the end of the end of the Ukraine war in January, the end of the conflict in Israel.
January 2026?
He said in January of the year that right after he got elected, lower prices, lower taxes on families making under 200K. None of that's true.
Mm. Well, January 2026 is still a possibility. So here in the comments, here's.
Well, he didn't say January 2026. He got elected in 2024. He was talking about 2025 January.
Well, he's not going to be president until January 20th or something.
He said, I don't need to be actually sworn in.
He did say that, didn't he? He did say.
As soon as I'm elected, I don't need to get in office. I know these people. I'm going to call them and get it over with. I'm going to do that. That's what he told us.
He did. I do recall doing some shows of him saying, before I even get in the Oval Office, I'm going to try to have this done. He did. Real quick in the comments, that is crazy. I forgot all about that. Huh?
So how we going to have a conversation with somebody on the other side just saying, just like he said, like, yeah, those, what was he saying? Stuff could just get declassified, because I think about it, like, how can you argue or how can you go back and forth with somebody who just says, yeah, he can do that? Nobody else can do it, though.
Well, then, Cal, I suppose.
Obviously, Biden can't do it because he's saying all of his damn pardons are null and void.
Perhaps Trump is just an amazing.
Just say, well, I thought about it. I thought about it.
Maybe it's just because Trump is an amazing leader. Who knows? But check this out. SGB says Trump. This is what Trump said allegedly in 1998. If I were ever to run for president, I would run as a Republican because they are the dumbest group of voters. Did he really? Can that be a?
Look, I tried to research that. I did not find any evidence of it. I'm not gonna say whether it's true or not. But I can admit, if I don't know or whatever, because a lot of stuff gets slung around. So I don't know if that's true or not. But what I do know is true is that Trump and Pete Hegseth just threw that damn admiral under the bus. And said,
I had to look the guy up to make sure he wasn't black. I looked him up like, really?
Hey, I'm telling you, I can be pretty sure this. Somebody going to jail. Somebody's going to jail.
Now, but he has the power to pardon, though, don't he? He can pardon them.
I ain't say he wasn't going to maybe pardon them afterwards, but somebody getting brought up on murder or war crime.
Somebody's getting convicted. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine based on what they're saying that a war crime did not take place. I want to play a real clip for some people who have not heard this, though.
With respect to the strikes in question on September 2nd, Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated. And I would just add one more point to remind the American public why these lethal strikes are taking place. Because this administration has designated these narco-terrorists as foreign terrorist organizations. The president has a right to take them out if they are threatening the United States of America and if they are bringing illegal narcotics that are killing our citizens at a record.
So, I mean, she starts out by saying Hegseth authorized it. So what is Hegseth? So it's only on the admiral and he's kind of slashed Hegseth out of it?
Well, that's kind of what they're trying to do, but that can't necessarily work unless the admiral says, I personally chose to do the double tap. Have you heard the term double tap?
Yeah, I know what it is. You struck him a second time to finish him off.
Right. Well, that's what normally assassins do. They double tap you. Even though they know the first one is going to work, they just do the second one.
But you can't. I get Hegseth would try to save himself. I understand it. But if the quote "kill everybody" is out there, then it goes beyond the admiral because that's not the admiral's quote.
Right. So it all depends. Is this admiral? Did they tell him, look, no matter what, we got your back. We gonna make sure you good or whatever. But any admiral that's that high in the food chain to just sit there and go along with a guy who couldn't even buff your shoes while he was in the military to listen to Hegseth tell him He couldn't shine his boots to tell him, I got your back and I want you to commit war crimes. If he went for that, he deserved to be. And I'm military. You know what I'm saying? I get it when you're in that position. But when somebody had to tell that guy, I don't believe that guy said, that admiral or whatever his rank is said, they said, okay, mission is complete. We got 2 people, hanging on to a piece of wood in the middle, of the water. And he said, hey, circle around and go get them. I don't see that, because we all know, and especially him know, that is a war crime. That is against all international law and Geneva Convention. The moment you are incapacitated and unable to do anything to hurt anybody, you automatically become a POW.
How about this? Because you've seen the video about what Trump and Hegseth are referring to as the seditious 6 about not following illegal orders. I see Ms. Mobetta said that's why the Democrats made that video. Is it possible that maybe one or more of these senators and politicians that made that video knew from maybe a confidential source or something that this happened? Because remember, there's an African-American admiral that resigned. Maybe they secretly leaked it out under, confidentiality or whatever, and then that might have inspired them. But is it possible that the quote-unquote seditious 6 got some kind of back channel win that illegal orders are taking place, and that's what inspired them to make the video?
Yeah, I really believe Mark Kelly probably has connections, which all of them probably had connections.
Right.
But you got to be pretty damn high up to have the connections to find out what was said between the SecDef, and the admiral. But all you need is a personal assistant that you know of one of them people. You need to know somebody that's the chef or the cook for the admiral. That's all you got to do is know somebody in their sphere that say, man, you wouldn't believe what the hell happened. And I believe now everything is kind of coming together. I believe they knew that people were following orders that were illegal, and they felt their duty to put it out to people that you don't. Because I see an awful lot of people on the news right now, generals, colonels, and shit, saying that admiral should have declined those orders.
Yeah.
Because he knows that is a war crime. And I don't care what they talking about. Well, if it's during war, it doesn't matter. Especially during war, POWs have certain rights. Like, not all countries follow them.
Does this exonerate Mark Kelly? Because Trump was threatening to have him basically brought back to active duty to prosecute him with it. Because now if they go after Mark Kelly or any of these people, this is obviously going to come up. The guy is making a video that you're prosecuting him for that says, do not follow illegal orders. Meanwhile, looks like somebody on your side is actually following an illegal order. So does this kind of help exonerate any further pursuit of Mark Kelly?
If they knew better, if they saw how Mark Kelly responded, like he wasn't for the bullshit, if they understand that if he gets under oath and he starts talking about who did what and other people have to come testify, I don't think they want to open that can of worms. I think they want the rhetoric to be there. They done already back down talking about, well, we just asking them to come and talk. They not sequestering them. They not sending them, what is it called when they make you come?
Okay, subpoena you.
Yeah, they not subpoenaing nobody. They just saying, well, we just asked them to come talk to us.
How about this though?
You don't got shit.
How about this though? Because this is from the past, but it's somewhat in line. 599 says one more thing. Why wasn't George Bush Jr., George W. Bush, brought up on war crimes for invading Iraq? Why wasn't Biden for the botched evacuation of Kabul? I guess that's the 13 service personnel. And he says, or Obama for the drone strikes that resulted in American deaths. I'll wait. So he's suggesting that, look, if you're going to get Trump for illegal orders, he's going to bring up George W. Bush for the war in Iraq, which was that approved by Congress, the war in Iraq? Because if it was, then
Not the initial, but remember he had to go back to Congress because they do have certain powers under the War Powers Act to act in behalf, but then they have to go to the Congress and then ask for permission to turn it into a full-fledged war. So this wouldn't be just on George Bush. Obama was a totally different situation because he was dealing with somebody that, although they were a U.S. citizen, they were avowed members of a terrorist group and they were actually armed.
yeah.
It's different when you're armed and when you in the boat in the middle of the water after your boat got blown up. That's why they're not separating the shit.
And last but not least, Biden and the botched evacuation.
Listen, there are many people all the way down the chain of command that make bad decisions during war. That does not make you a war criminal. He was doing the best with what he had and the intel that he had at the time. Was it wrong? Did it get people killed? Yes, it does. How many people did MacArthur send off to damn war out there in the damn, you know what I'm saying? The people on D-Day, where they sent thousands.
I mean, not only that, but something a little bit more recent. Jimmy Carter tried to free the Iranian hostages, which got Reagan elected, and all of them died too. All of the SEALs involved in that mission were killed in two
that
helicopters.
doesn't make you a war criminal because you make a bad military decision. There are bad military decisions made every single day. Those are not war criminals. They may have took some bad advice from somebody. They might be a bad statistician themselves. It doesn't mean that they're a criminal. That's different from telling somebody, this person that has now become a POW, circle back around and kill him. That's murder. That's not a bad judgment or nothing. That is a war
Just
crime.
a bad order. I see the comments. Sticky Finger says Trump and the Republicans ain't shit. Okay, he doesn't like them. Admiral Hosey resigned because he wouldn't obey those orders. So, talking about the African Americans, so do you think that that's likely why he resigned? Is because he was given an illegal order and just said, "I'm not going to do it"?
Wholeheartedly. That man was 1 year into a 3-year term where he was in charge of a whole theater. That's their dream, to make it to that position, to be in charge of the European theater, Afrikaan, all of these different theaters, to be in charge of a whole theater, the South America and the Caribbean. That was his dream job. He quit 1 year into it right after they started blowing people out of the water with he didn't make no waves about it because he maintaining his military bearing.
What are the chances of a book or him talking? I mean, obviously there's confidentiality issues for him being military, but do you think you'll ever get the truth as to why he retired or resigned?
Yes. They're gonna call him. They're gonna call him into this stuff that's happening right now. They're gonna call him and ask him, did somebody ask you to do something?
Yeah.
And if he's true to his word like he should be, he's gonna say yes. He's gonna say, yeah, I didn't agree with what they were doing. I decided that,
But will you ever get enough Democrats in the majority enough to get this started? I mean, the Republicans are not going to create the.
No.
Go ahead.
No, it's Republicans. It's Republicans that's on the news now saying, that's a war crime. And the president of the United States, when they asked him on the jet,
he said he wouldn't be for it. Yeah, he said he wouldn't be for it.
Yeah, so we got confirmation. If the president of the United States is okay with saying that this is a war crime or this is wrong,
what? No, I don't know why they don't. TikTok is flagging you. Here's the thing I'll say though. It's oftentimes what Trump says in public is different than what he says in private, because he was also getting to the bottom of the Epstein files in public, but he's obviously doing the opposite in private.
Yeah, but when you come in front of the world and you say, if somebody did this, it's wrong. That's hard to walk back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was surprised he said it, because it would have been easy for him to just say, well, he told me he didn't say it, and so that's it.
He did say, though. He did say that. He said Hegseth told him. He said Hegseth told him he didn't do it, and he believes Hegseth.
Right. But he said if he did say it, it's wrong.
But when
so that's the part. he could have left out. But you know, he got to run his mouth.
Would he want? Can you imagine him wanting Hegseth held accountable if Hegseth is shown to have done this?
Congress, if they got anything left in them, it's not up to them because they're in charge of oversight. And if there are Republicans that say they're going to have every last Democrat, it don't take but a few of them to turn this into referring this to the Department of Justice for prosecution.
Pam Bondi? Really?
Hey, I'm just saying, this stuff is not going to go away.
No, it ain't gonna go away with it.
You know, Pam Bondi admitted that she was the one who told them people to deny, to go ahead and remember when they wasn't supposed to. The court told them not to take those people away.
The flight.
Send them to CCOT.
Yeah.
And they was wondering like who gave the order.
I thought that was That was Kristi Noem that did that.
Yeah, Kristi Noem. So they admitted, the government admitted that she was the one, and I think because they was getting closer and closer to her, and they were gonna find out. So look, some of these people, like maybe we will have to wait until this administration is over, but these folks is going to jail.
Well, that's the man has the power to pardon, didn't count. I think they're going. I think they're going to pardon heaven.
If he pardons his whole cabinet and everybody that worked for him, but that admiral,
he's in trouble.
Yeah, because that could go to a military tribunal, which ain't gonna have nothing to do with his pardon power.
Wow, really? So Trump cannot, if it's a military tribunal, Trump cannot pardon him?
Yeah, because they have international military tribunals.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well,
yeah,
so
they got courts that deal with international law and stuff.
So this guy is shaking in his uniform.
On the other side of the world, talking about, go ahead and swing back around and, you know what I'm saying, hit him with another, $200,000 missile, and they hanging on the side of damn boats. And then you got the other thing that don't make no damn sense. If that was the case, why on the second or the third time did they let them people leave? Because they fucking knew this shit right here is getting carried away and somebody gonna fuck around and go to jail.
Yeah.
And I believe that second time, somebody probably said, no, I'm not doing the second go round. And they sent them people home, which lets you know that they wasn't part of the fucking Venezuelan goddamn cartel. Some of the motherfuckers was fishermen.
If what you're saying is true, it's going to be one of the biggest scandals in presidential history probably since Oliver North or something like that. I got to move it on, but this is going to be a scandal that is going to make the history book. So Trump may get the history he seeks. Didn't Cal? Appreciate it.
All right.
Kind of reminds me of, remember on the movie Titanic when the guy looked at the captain and said, "You may get your headlines after all." This kind of seems like that. When they found out, this thing is going to sink in a few hours, you may actually get the headlines you were seeking after all. That's what it kind of sounds like. Looking in the comments, days after Kabul, Biden bragged of a boom on culprits. He carried it out. He bragged on what he killed some culprits. Turned out to be an Afghan 8 and 7 kids. Isn't that a war crime? If he deliberately killed 2 Afghanis, what you're saying, turned out to be, if he killed an Afghani and 7 kids. The crazy thing is, if Biden did all this, I didn't even hear Trump suggesting I remember the botched evacuation, but you're saying that Biden ordered the killing of 7 children, and you're asking, is that a war crime? I'm going to admit ignorance on this. I'd have to look into this. Obviously it was being discussed during that time, but I don't remember it making that big of waves like this. You're saying that you're indicating that Biden himself ordered this. Now you gave me some homework. Let me move on. I do like to see that. Well, I'm tapped out. These days we are told to trust Democrats. Told. Just give it 3 years. Everything about this is exhausting, and most of us are just flat out done with it. Good night, says Friday. Well, you say we're told to trust Democrats. What are the Democrats telling you to just trust them on? The Democrats have no power. President Trump is the one that's in leadership, and there's nothing to question that. Now, when Biden was in office, you're being told to trust Biden, but he's not in office anymore. Trump is. So why are you being told to trust the Democrats when Trump is in power of all three branches of government? I don't quite understand it. You're not being told to trust the Democrats now. You're being told to trust Trump. There was a time, as I just stated, when Biden was in office, and you were told to trust Biden. But that time has passed. It's now Trump. Looking in the comments here real quick. That's not the same. That's an accident. The ships are deliberate. Well, if he's saying that Biden deliberately ordered a strike that killed 7 kids, I don't remember hearing about it as much. Just like I know the strike of the drone strike by Obama was deliberate. But the problem with Obama's strike, as Denkow pointed out, you're talking about an American that is actively committed an act of treason, or he's an actual bona fide traitor. He's actually went to the Middle East and is fighting on behalf of ISIS. So he is now an enemy combatant that just happens to have an American passport. And in my opinion, he is open season all day, every day. To me, he's no different than an American that goes in a police station that's trying to pop cops. He is literally working for the enemy, trying to harm Americans. What is Obama supposed to do? If you got him in the crosshairs and he's operating on behalf of the enemy, what do they suggest that Obama do? Let the guy continue to exist just because he's an American when he's actively trying to harm other Americans and actually operating on behalf of the enemy? This is something that if Trump did that and you question him why he would drone an American, this is one where he would tell you you're asking a stupid question and cuss you out. I mean, just simply put, if you go as an American to a foreign country, join the military of the enemy, and you're actually acting on behalf of the enemy while they're actively at war with Americans, you're a justifiable shoot all day long. And I'm going to tell you, the same folks on the right that may be criticizing Obama for droning an American that's working with the enemy will be celebrating Trump for doing it. That's just, to me, finding something to criticize when you would absolutely back the hell out of that if Trump was doing it. In fact, Trump would, Trump would be calling the liberals all sorts of crazy ass names for questioning that. What the hell you expect me to do? He's fighting on behalf of the enemy. I don't know why that even is worthy of a discussion. This guy says Democrats don't have any power. They created the system. Food. It doesn't matter. If I go out and design a weapon and it's in your hands now, you have the power. Just because I designed it don't mean shit. Trump is in charge of the system. Doesn't matter who designed it. The Democrats are not in control. What he said, because the Democrats, in your opinion, designed the system, they're forever in power? That makes no sense. Let me go back to the box, tap the screen, get us on up over the 50,000 hump. We'll go back. Islam doesn't work anywhere in the world. Says who good? What do you mean Islam doesn't work anywhere in the world? Islam's been around for a very long time. Why would you suggest it's not working? I don't get that. This guy, you may not like it, but Islam is working out very well in many countries. Going back to the box, Mike, good evening. Welcome. If it brings him up, welcome to the program, Mike.
What's up, bro?
Hey, why do they like Trump so much? I mean, look, I talked about it before. Now, I get that folks suggest he's not a typical politician. He fights back. They like that. Shoot straight from the hip. They suggest that. But fact is, he's not met a host of his campaign promises, yet they're suggesting he still remains, in their opinion, one of the best presidents in their lifetime, if not American history. Explain that in your humble opinion.
You're racist and bigotry.
Racist and bigotry.
Yeah, and they want to be comfortable in their own beliefs. They don't want to accept the fact that this man is nothing but a fascist, and it's a fascist movement. That's all it is, Tim. That's literally all it is. I mean, just plain and simple. And the fact that they don't know this stuff, either they know it and they don't acknowledge it, or they don't know it and they don't want to know it. Man, that's really all it is.
So
don't excuse anything.
So they favor Trump because he's a fascist and a bigot.
No, they are. He's definitely a fascist. But his followers are what he is, by and large. They're okay with it.
What about the economy? What about the border? What about getting men out of women's sports? Is there any other reason they could have voted for the guy other than bigotry and fascism?
Everything that he has told them, all the things you just listed, is all the tenets of fascism. Tim, I read these to you 6 months ago.
Yeah, you have. But so did Stacey Abrams. Right. But securing the border is not fascism, is it?
Isolation?
Not isolation. You can come here, just come legally.
Tim, that's not what they're doing. That's not even their message.
How?
That's what they're saying. That's not what they're doing. That's what they're saying. If that was the case, you would do it legislatively. You wouldn't have troops at the border not allowing anyone in the country.
Well, wait a minute.
Anybody in the country.
Wait a minute. The fact that this Afghani that just basically took out one National Guardsman and critically wounded another, he received approval for asylum under President Trump. So clearly they were approving people to stay that came here legally. They let him stay here legally.
They didn't even know. Did you hear the press conference? Are you fucking with me right now?
No, I'm not. Right, give me what you got. Give me what you got. Did he not get the right to legally remain in the country under Trump?
Yes, absolutely. But have they even acknowledged it? These motherfuckers didn't even know. Trump didn't even know. They've been repeating that this is all Biden. They have nothing to do with this. Biden administration let these people in. They don't even acknowledge that they did what they did because they don't know. Because it's not their focus.
Okay.
It's not their focus.
But the fact is, if Trump issued the order that nobody could stay, he would not have been allowed to stay. So clearly the Trump administration was not, I don't know if they changed it because of what he did now. They've made changes, but they were not banning people from coming here legally. They just don't want you here illegally.
No, that's bullshit. That's why they've arrested 100. They detained 170 U.S. citizens. Tim, it was never their strategy or their agenda in their book, because Project 2025 is a fucking book. It's 992 pages. That's a book, and they call it a book, by the way.
Well, one of my
targeting, huh?
MK in the comments says, "What are the Democrats trying to do? Convince us to vote for the border opening Transformers?" So he said, what are you suggesting, that we reopen the border like it was under Biden? He feels the border was open and Trump has secured it.
Again, you motherfuckers. See, I'm not even going to crash out, but I feel like I want to crash out. That's why I'm using
Why?
Motherfuckers. Because the border was never closed outside of the pandemic, and it's never been just open, as they've been saying. It is rhetoric, Tim. Every time you say it, you feed into the rhetoric. It was never open. We've had the same laws have been in place for over 50 years. When you say that, whoever's saying that is acting as if the Biden administration just said, fuck the law, let everybody in, let them go wherever they want, let them do whatever they want to do. That's not what the Biden administration
but some people actually believe that.
People. I know what they believe, goddammit, Tim, but they also believe QAnon believes a lot of shit. Do you believe that shit?
No, I don't believe QAnon, but here, like Tony in the comments says, wait a minute, hold on, hang on. Tony in the comments says, good president, keep America safe. The notion is Trump is keeping the country safer than it was under Biden.
I know what the notion is, but the notion is bullshit, and you and I both know it. The notion is bullshit, and you and I both know it. Not only, again, it's not my opinion. These are facts.
You're saying under President Trump, the border is immigration-wise, we're no safer than we were under Biden.
No, we're not. Show me. No, I'm going to tell you why, Tim. You can't find a stat that shows crime has gone down, rapes have gone down, assaults have gone down. These are all the tropes they use to sell it. The numbers never showed it before. I'm going to say that again. The crime stats never showed that we were safer and that undocumented migrants were an issue to begin with. The only thing they could bring up was Lincoln Riley. That's the only thing they used, and these cult members just ran with it. The numbers never supported it. Never.
Lincoln Riley got a whole lot of attention. But here's the thing.
I can point to white. I can point to, and then the reason I always go back to race is because of this. Because here's the thing: the reason I go back to race is because the races are the ones selling this ideology. There's been more white men that have unalived white people this year already than you can find undocumented immigrants, unalived people. Period. Just this year.
Well, I don't have anything to say
Just
about
this year.
that. Wow.
I know, because there's nothing to say about it. Because the facts are the facts. And propaganda is propaganda. Right? Here's the thing, Tim. Every time you put his picture up, your room gets dark. You know that, right?
Yeah, the TV and the light. It doesn't. Some of my cameras, it's crazy, but yeah.
No. When you put his picture up, the room goes dark.
Because he's such a contrast to me. He's pale. I'm dark as hell.
Because he's demonic. That's why.
You don't listen. I get we're being sarcastic. I get you're making a joke, but in reality, you don't think President Trump is demonic, right?
I told you he's not redeemable, Tim. How many times I got to tell you that? That man doesn't have a soul, and neither do none of them do. See, here's the thing. Let me ask you this.
You don't
Have you read
a soul.
Project 2020? Have you read Project 2025 at all?
I've read quite a bit of it, yeah.
Have you read Kevin Roberts' book?
No.
Okay. Have you read Project Esther?
No.
Okay, I've read all of those things. So I'm so convicted in my position is because I've read it. I know what they're talking about. I know how they feel about you, me, women, children. I know it. Republicans. See, that's the thing. They've convinced Republicans that this is for them too. They don't like them motherfuckers either.
You don't believe that the Trump administration likes Republicans?
Absolutely fucking not. They like MAGA. Anybody that is a staunch Republican, historically speaking, they call rhinos, and they ostracize them too.
I do agree with that. If you're a traditional Republican, Mitt Romney, Bush, McCain, yeah, they favor people that agree with their agenda. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene has somehow found herself on the wrong side of that. Real quick before you continue, in the comment, Hubert says, Tim, they don't care if anyone is legal. They are arresting people at their immigration hearings. Do it legally is bullshit. So he said even the legal migrants got to go.
Okay, give me 20 seconds on this real quick.
Go.
Real quick. And I want you to tell me, I'm going to read them again. You got 273 people in here. Tell me when I say something. I'm going to give you the 14 tenets. Can we do that real quick?
I'll give you a minute. Go ahead, make it happen.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to read the 14 tenets, and I want you to tell me what does not apply. Number
14 tenets of fascism. Go ahead.
Yes. Number 1, powerful and continuing nationalism. Disdain for the recognition of human rights. Identification of enemy scapegoats as a unifying cause.
Disdain for the recognition of human rights. How to elaborate? What has Trump shown that he's not concerned with human rights? That's what you're telling me.
Yep. I'm glad you stopped there. Because of fear of enemies and the need for security, the people in fascist regimes are persuaded that human rights can be ignored in certain cases because of need. Venezuela. Should I go on?
Due process. All right, what else you got?
Okay. Supremacy of the military. Rampant sexism. Controlled mass.
How is supremacy of the military? Where's that coming from?
Supremacy of the military?
Yeah. Our military.
Even when there are widespread domestic problems, the military is given a disproportionate amount of government funding, and the domestic agenda is neglected. Soldiers and military service are glamorized.
Say no more. All right, what else you got? They gave him 28 billion. They gave 28 billion to ICE, and of course, we've always, even before President Trump, we've always given a disproportionate amount of money to the military. So that ain't something that's just unique to Trump. But what else you got?
But he's done a lot more of it.
Yeah.
Controlled mass media.
Not yet. He's not. He's talked about it, but he's not controlling. That's something that, we talk about Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. We can talk about Stephen Colbert. We can talk about him suggesting that networks should go off the air. He hasn't done it yet, but it does seem like he wants a significant amount of control.
Who's in charge of the FCC right now?
One of his people, the one that was talking about.
His name is Brendan Carr.
Yeah.
Guess what? Brendan Carr was a Project 2025 contributor. Did you know that?
No, I did.
Okay, I'll keep going. I'll just keep going. Religion and government are intertwined. Corporate power is...
That ain't, wait. Religion and government are intertwined. He hasn't made any move to do that yet.
They have tried. They're trying. What are you talking about?
Trump? I haven't heard Trump say anything.
Wait a minute. What about the Bible, Tim? What are you talking about?
That ain't. That's not Trump. Some superintendent.
They're his Bibles.
He's selling Bibles, but he's not trying to make it part of the government.
What are you? Religion and government in Louisiana, the 10 Commandments in school.
Yeah, but that's not Trump. That's local politicians in those states. I don't disagree with you there, but that's not Trump.
They're all intertwined to the ideology. You can't separate the two.
And by the way,
it's more better turning point.
By the way, the government of Oklahoma got rid of that superintendent that was trying to put Bibles in schools. That's been shut down.
Yeah. But again, listen, just because things are being shut down doesn't mean that they're...
Keep going. What else you got?
Let me keep going. Corporate power is protected. Labor power is suppressed. What do you mean? What you find out about
corporate power is protected?
All the corporations that are getting this funding they're being protected by Trump. Who was in the front row at the inauguration, Tim?
Yeah, those two things, corporate power and squashing labor. I'm not going to fault Trump. I'm going to say that's a tenet of the Republican Party. They are pro-corporate and not as favorable to the average working man. That ain't. Okay, Reagan. You can go back to Reagan and get that.
Yes, you can. 100% you can. Let me keep going. Disdain for intellectuals and the arts, obsession with crime and punishment, rampant cronyism and corruption, and fraudulent elections. Which one did I say that doesn't apply to his administration?
I don't think he's obsessed with crime and corruption, considering how many people he's pardoning.
Hold on. Let me give you the definition. Under fascist regimes, the police are given almost limitless power to enforce laws. The people are often willing to overlook police abuses and even forego civil liberties in the name of patriotism. There is often a national police force with virtually unlimited power in fascist nations. So say that again, Tim.
Well, we don't have that, but it's pretty clear Trump wants it. He talked about giving police immunity. Trump hasn't tried to stop any of this since SGB. Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with that part because he has talked about giving police immunity, and I don't think ICE is going to be held accountable for anything they may be doing wrong. So that part, I guess I can't disagree with that. 14. That's all 14 of them.
That's all 14. And he checks the box on every. I know, Tim. I know.
That's nasty. Oh, that's nasty.
That's nasty because he and again, and my point is this, and then I'm gonna let you go to your next guest. My point is this: everything that I said, people see it. They may not know what it ties to. They may not know what the definition is, but they see it. So they're accepting it. This is why I come to the conclusion I come to. They see it. They get on this app and they support it. The MAGA Reacts and the DJ Julios, they try to excuse it all away by ridiculous reasons. I mean,
why do you think that is? That's exactly what I'm saying. Why do they love Trump so much? Why do you think that is?
Because they're either, again, racist, fascist. They are okay with fashion. They're okay with harm, and they're okay with cruelty. You can't. Listen, you can only talk this shit away for so long.
Is it possible that maybe they thought the liberals with the men and women's sports and all this shit and the blue hair were going to destroy the country so damn much that they favored Trump over that? Maybe he's just a lesser of two evils.
No. I mean, that's what they're saying to themselves. But none of them have experienced the very things that they're afraid of. You've asked, matter of fact, Tim asked them have they had experiences with trans. They wouldn't know a trans person in the bathroom if they walked right past them. Well, they wouldn't fucking know.
But they could recognize a dick, right?
Are they looking over the shoulder? And why do you say it so hard?
Because that's what it is. I mean, look,
you say that shit like it's 2 D's on it when you say it and you drop your voice. Why are you being so aggressive?
I'm just saying, if I'm expecting a woman and they pull out a dick, I mean, that's something different.
Are you looking?
If I'm expecting a woman and she's with me.
No, I'm saying when we go to the bathrooms, when we go to the restrooms,
No.
and you ever look over and look down, okay then,
No.
Tim, you ever go in the stall?
No.
I mean, come on, Tim. These people are fear-mongered by the ideology. It's all here. It's literally, matter of fact, Tim, and this is how I know when I tell people like MAGA Reacts and DJ Julio, because they don't read enough to fuck with me. Because I read this shit. I literally have Kevin Roberts' book open on my computer right now. And if I read you 2 paragraphs, everything I just said, everything we're talking about right now is part of their ideology. They want to burn this bitch down, and everybody that doesn't look, that's not.
What would be the goal of burning this bitch down? That's going to hurt the wealthy too. I mean, if you burn the country to the ground, it's going to help. It's going to hurt everybody.
No, it's not. It's not. You know why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because the people with the money will still make the money. They're already securing soft landing spaces outside of this country for them to go wherever they want to go. What do you think all of this is about?
So what are they going to do? You're going to destroy what is operating as one of the best countries on the planet, one of the better countries at least, and gut it for the finances, and then move to something. What are you going to do? Burn that place down too? Because it's going to be similar. I mean,
they want this place homogenous. They want it as white as it can be. And the only reason for anybody else is for labor, for free labor. They're trying to get back to that time, Jim. That's not even a far left position. That's literally what they're trying to do.
That's going to be hard.
That's exactly what.
That's something that would go beyond their own lifespan. KJ, Superfan, thank you. I don't know. To me, this stuff seems crazy at best. I mean, you got a bunch of old men. In your opinion, these are all guys that are my age or older fighting to make America white again. None of them are going to live to see that. I mean, Trump's 80. So obviously, even if what he's doing is a success, he would never live to see it.
But again, they don't care, Tim. Can you want to give me another 30 seconds?
30 seconds. I got to move it on. 30 seconds. Go.
Okay, cool. Okay. To escape our current darkness, restore America's civil light, and take back our country for good, conservatives can't merely continue putting out fires. We must be brave enough to go on the offense, strike the match, and start a long, controlled burn. There's plenty of fuel, like a dead wood in a forest. Many of American institutions have been completely hollowed out, fully captured by the Uniparty. Decadent and ruthless, these institutions serve only as a shelter for our corrupt elite. Meanwhile, they block out the light and suck up the nutrients necessary for American institutions to grow. For America to flourish again, they don't need to be reformed. They need to burn. A nice start would include every Ivy League college, the FBI, the New York Times, the National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases, the Department of Education, 80% of Catholic higher education, BlackRock, the Loudoun County Public School System, the Boy Scouts of America, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the World Economic Forum, the Chinese Communist Party, and the National Endowment for Democracy. This is on page 12 of a 259-page book written by Kevin Roberts.
I don't think
don't tell me.
Okay. I don't think that would be a well thought out plan at all. But Mike, I do got to move it on. I'll talk about it on the other side, but I don't think that's well thought out if they're trying to do that whatsoever. Appreciate you coming through.
Yep.
And by the way, like I said, the reason why I'm saying it's not well thought out, Angie, I see your comment. I'll respond in kind. You destroy America to that level, a bunch of idiots, getting rid of the Department of Education and stuff like that. I mean, I guess because if you make America white, so are you going to give all of the peasant jobs to a bunch of poor white people? You want your kids to do these? I don't know. I don't see it being well thought out. All I see it being is some sort of a historic reset where, you make the country all completely white, and then in the future generation, they're going to want to go back to another country to either get slaves or get cheap labor from a place like Mexico or a place like China, and the whole process is going to start over again. The reason we have all of these minorities here in America has nothing to do with the Statue of Liberty, bring you're tired, you're weary, you're poor. It was not done to be nice to the downtrodden around the world. It was done to exploit them for cheap labor. Chinese with the railroads, what we did to the Irish, obviously the blacks, lately the Hispanics. I mean, it was all done that way. So if you go back to making America white, which is what happened right after the Native Americans were taken out, it was a completely white country. You were at that clean slate. capitalism, greed, and the desire to exploit others is what we have now. If you clean the slate, once you start off with an all-white population, they're going to be right at the position the settlers were once the Native Americans were kept under control. They're going to want people to do stuff, and they're going to go right back to bringing folks in. Because fact is, white America has shown they don't intend to do their own labor. That's what's been going on since we became a country, is white America does not want to do their own labor. I say this all the time. You could have kept America as white, Christian, and all the other trimmings that you wanted if you had just done your own labor. You're bringing blacks over because you want to do free shit. You want them to make up your bed and cook food in your kitchen and breastfeed your kids. Okay, they get free, they make changes. You want the Hispanics over because you can pay them less. I mean, that's the reason all these people are here now. It's because they didn't want to do their own labor. That's the reason we have manufacturing plants in, China and the Philippines and shit. We don't want to pay people the proper wage to do labor. So if you make the country white again, you're just going to reset it. And the next generation that starts out all white is going to start finding other cultures to exploit. It'll just start all over again, in my opinion. August 29, 2021, Ahmadi family government admitted guilt in guy and kids were innocent. No consequences. Brown lives don't matter to Democrats is why you don't hear about it. Well, you should hear about it from the Republicans, Ed G, and I apologize for being late to respond to your comment, but he's saying that Biden, during his term, took out 7 innocent Afghani children, and he's saying that they later did admit it and they faced no consequences. And as a result, he's indicating that brown lives do not matter to Democrats, is why you don't hear about it. I didn't hear a lot about it, but I didn't hear a lot about it on Fox. I watched a lot of Fox News during Biden's term. I mean, I heard about Operation Fast and Furious under Obama and I heard about the Obama scandals. I don't recall it making big news. I heard about it. I do remember hearing about it, but it wasn't that big. And I'm trying to think, did Biden lose? He lost what the Senate, because they can call up a hearing even though Biden's president. Free Lunch Freddy says, what if Christ said you can't enter my gates of glory because you don't speak Hebrew or Arabic? Christ never spoke English or set foot in this country. And I bring that up in terms of religion all the time. People think that, God bless America, something like that. I bring that up all the time. But people think that God or Christ is working on behalf of America only. You hear it all the time. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this name. 8487 says, Pam Bondi presents documents suggesting Obama administration faked Russian collusion talks about that. Talk about that 7 out of 8 events Q mentioned was going half did. Pam Bondi, okay, Pam Bondi presented documents that suggest the Obama administration faked Russian collusion talk. Oh, I'd have to see what comes out of that. I'd have to see what comes out of it. And let's see what she's suggesting on President Obama. If they faked, because we know that Mueller looked into President Trump, whether or not he colluded with Russia. The Mueller investigation concluded there was not enough there to convict or charge President Trump, but he also stated there was not enough there to exonerate him. So we'll see. If she has it, produce it. And I see in the comments, 1645 says Pam Bondi is full of it. Well, we'll see what happens. Anyway, going back to the box, tap the screen, get us on up to 70,000. A lot of lazy thumbs in here. Sounds like Tim is the predator in the bathroom. Boy, because I said you shouldn't be looking over and looking for dick in the stall. How am I the predator? No, not a predator there, Hubert. Where are you getting that from? Thank you, T2, for your support. Tim is on that double D's. There you go, sticky fingers. Hell yeah. Say it one more time. Yes, Tim is on those double D's. Bless you shit. I go all the way up to F's, as in Frank. Some people get surprised by seeing Trump support. TS can pull off, TS, some can pull it off damn crazy. You said transsexual. Okay, so you said some people get surprised by trans. Some people, yeah, that's what I stated. If you truly are a trans on your shit, nobody should know you trans. A truly feminine looking transgender woman can stand right next to a girl in the bathroom and she wouldn't necessarily know it's a girl. Just like now, I mean, so I don't think you always know. People expect to see a dude, you know, somebody like me with a wig on when they think transgender, or like Caitlyn Jenner. It's a lot of transgender women that look actually like women. Yeah, Big Adam's apple for the great another one. All transgender women don't have that stuff. There are some transgender women that you would not know. And these grinder sites people talk about, those sites probably have women on there like that. My guess is if you go on the internet, Grinder or whatever page you use to look up, I bet you there are women on those sites that you would not know is a woman, other than the fact that it tells you they're on the transgender site. If you put that same person on, you know, a Match or some of these other dating sites, Christian Mingles or whatever they are, I bet you would not know it was not a woman. Bet you wouldn't know. Not to mention when dudes are horny and shit like that, they ain't looking for no fucking Adam's apple. She's sitting next to you in a bar with a short skirt and a nice pair of legs sticking out. You'll ignore that Adam's apple all you want. You that ain't what you're looking for. You're looking at all that other shit. Look at in the comments here. And somebody says Trump stinks out loud, but I gotta do what I gotta do because you're doing what is getting to the point of, what do you call it? Spamming. Let me go back to the box and continue on with Gangsta Grandma. Good evening, Gangsta. Welcome to the program. You stop that shit.
Again. No, fuck you. You are just scandalous. You know what you is? You a coonette. That's what the fuck you is.
What the fuck is a coonette?
Coon? You're a ratty raccoon. I'll shit you not. You on your knees tonight. All that cock up and you're worried about trans people. You got one in your fucking mouth right now. What the fuck?
I'm going to plead ignorance. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Oh, no, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. No, you go, I like double D's. Yeah, double D balls. That's what you like. You don't like no fucking damn titties. You worry about trans women. Oh, they got dick. Well, no shit. Are you watching motherfuckers go pee and shit?
What is the...
I mean, are you?
What is the size of a pair of double D balls? That would be your whole...
I don't know. But you ain't looking at no damn titties because you're worried about dating laying in the fucking bathroom. You motherfucker Cooney.
I think...
I'm so done with your ugly ass.
I don't know what... Listen, first of all, I'm not worried about transgender. We're having a conversation.
Yeah, you really is. Well, don't you look? Who the fuck be looking at people's stalls?
I didn't say...
You fucking damn. Ugh. You just like, you're more motherfuckers are more obsessed with fucking that than you should be worried about your own damn fucking people.
Well, first of all,
good.
you heard it and got it wrong, suggesting that I said you do not look. And by the way, Dennis Calhoun, you says White House admits Keg's breath. You're talking about PX of Keg's breath ordered the second strike. Yes, we are talking about that. I want to ask you this, Gangsta Grandma. Why do Trump supporters like him so much? Love him so much.
Why do you like his ass so much? What, you like the white cock or something? I mean, let's get serious. Why they like him? Because they're fascists, you dumb fuck. And you over here all up in their fucking damn mouth and shit. You know what I mean, Kim?
Okay.
Kim, you are a ratty fucking raccoon. Why don't you just fucking admit it? That you're undercover fucking ratty raccoon.
What?
You know what I mean? You know why they fucking like his dumb fucking dumb ass.
What is your definition?
And he's a fucking fascist. And he's the fucking...
She's having
racist.
You're having signal troubles. Gangsta, are you there? I think Gangsta Grandma's having problems. We're gonna have to move it on. You're going in and out. Do you hear me? All right, we got to move it on. All right, Gangsta Grandma. Well, first of all, what is a ratty raccoon? I wish I could have had her answer that. I was trying to get her to answer that. What the hell is a ratty raccoon? Big Dog says, drop her, I can't hear her. Yeah, she was having signal troubles. I was seeing the bars fluctuating everywhere. Signal troubles in her brain, says Alfred. and I see Creed said, thank you for dropping it. No, we like to let the people speak. You don't have to agree. I don't listen. I would love to get more mag on here and let you speak and say whatever the hell you want. So we don't believe in censoring or blocking anyone because of a difference of opinion. Thank you for the hat and mustache, big dog. Yeah. By the way, folks, help your boy get that TikTok crown goal. We haven't solicited that tonight. Show the program some love. Show your boy some support. War Powers resolution on November 7, 1973, which limits the president's ability to commit the armed forces to hostilities without congressional approval. Yeah, but the problem is he ain't the only president that's been using the military without congressional approval. He's not the first to do it. I mean, blowing up boats the way he is going to attract attention when he's not providing any evidence of what he's saying is the case. And certainly if Pete Hegseth indicated it's okay to go back and blow up the stragglers that are holding on the rubble, that's going to draw attention. But Trump is not the first person to use the military without congressional approval. I believe when we took out bin Laden in Pakistan, we literally invaded a sovereign nation to get that guy. Obama did not get congressional approval to take out bin Laden. Now, he's not going to get the same pushback as Trump. Taking out bin Laden, no American is going to complain about that. But if you're suggesting you need congressional approval to use the military, he didn't do it. Democrats have double standards, says Don Trump 2028. You want Donald Trump? You want Donald Trump Jr. to win in 2020? Well, let me just say this. I don't totally disagree with that in regards to suggesting the Democrats have a double standard, but both sides do. Both sides do. You think that the Democrats could do everything Trump is doing without the right complaining about it? The same thing about double standards. I remember Trump himself and Fox News, by the way, complaining that Obama was on the internet too much. Obama played golf too much. Obama had his family in the White House. Now that Trump's doing it, it's okay. Double standards work on both sides. I'm not going to disagree with that. Let me go back to the box. MAGA Reacts. Good evening, MAGA Reacts. I may have brought up Samuel. Good evening, Samuel. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Tim, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to figure out, Trump has not met many of his campaign promises, yet folks are suggesting he's one of the best presidents we've ever had in our lifetime, if not in American history. Why do you think the love is there with so many campaign promises still up in the air? What say you?
You know, honestly, it's bottom line, it's a cult-like mentality. You and I were never going to understand it. I don't believe that every single person that supports Trump is a cultist, but, their priorities, I feel, are in the wrong place, and they voted against their own best interests. But, bottom line with Trump, he's what we call a malignant narcissist. He's wide out in the open. He has no empathy or anything or any ambition to fulfill his promises whatsoever. Wait. One of his campaign promises he was going to end the Ukraine-Russia war. Now, he said 24 hours, but in peace, he's still fighting to get that war ended. So why do you say he has no ambition to do that? I don't think he's serious about the Ukraine and Russian war. There's something there. Obviously I don't know right yet, but I do not believe he's going to end it in a way that is going to be a peaceful manner. I'm trying to make sense of this. The Ukraine isn't going to get anything out of it. I think Russia's going to get more out of this than the Ukraine.
It's kind of looking that way, but obviously the Russians have a significantly more powerful military. So the only way they don't get annihilated is with help from the West. So I agree with you. Russia's going to get more out of it, but without the West intervening, they would get all of Ukraine.
Yeah, but at the same time too, it doesn't have to be that way, right? It's like, what is it with Trump and Putin? I'm not going into conspiracy theories here, but what is the deal with him just saying no, where not going to have it this way, the Vladimir Putin way. We're going to end it to where, you know, these people can live in a peaceful world, but he's not about that.
So, and so you're admitting you don't see all of Trump supporters as coaches, but I mean, okay, let's say the ones you view as non-cult like followers of Trump. Why is the love for him so strong? I mean, if the campaign promises are not being met, that love is there. Why is that?
It's really hard to distinguish, Tim, I think. And I had a conversation with another individual today about this and how they're trying to make sense of it. And I just think I think that they're just waiting for this so-called savior, who he's not, to like make things better that he's stated in his lying campaign. It's not. It isn't better. You know.
Well, when you say, wait. I mean, when you say savior, but he's not. If people believe that too many unvetted immigrants are coming into this country, well, Trump has certainly stopped that. Is he not a savior there? Or they believe that transgender and LGBT issues are being shoved down their children's throats in schools? Trump is stopping that. Is he not a savior there? He is meeting some of the promises. Now, the savior part, things that they perceive were really bad. Trump is getting things accomplished in those areas, is he not?
No, I don't believe he is. I mean, you and I can both respectfully disagree, but like, so going on about the gender issues and everything like that, and how there was a rumor going around saying, oh, they're teaching critical race theory. Nobody was teaching critical race theory inside of schools. I know this because I talked to teachers and professors. I'm like, have you heard? They're like, no, I don't know what is this? You know, and as far as the transgender thing goes, you know, I don't understand why they're so obsessed with this. I mean, like, the schools are not, you know, making these accommodations from what this GOP side, this hardcore dark age GOP conservative side is stating. You know, it's not there, a lot of this stuff.
Well, if it's not there, then why, if what you're saying is true, and I kind of think it is, why is it so easy to convince MAGA otherwise?
You know, that's a very good question, Tim. And it's just, I honestly, I don't have like a legitimate answer for that. It's just, I think it's easier to just follow that type of crowd. You know, this is a behavior, you know, and when Trump came back into the picture again, you know, I'm gonna try to put this into perspective, is that, you know, the mask came off of a lot of individuals, you know, to me, you know, and he made this okay for some people to be like, to say some crazy shit and everything like he does, you know, on a basis. I mean, would you say that? I mean, my thing is like, to make an example, right? Okay. You have a sitting president right now who is calling people of the press pigs, calling them stupid people. And, you know, I mean, who does that?
A very angry man. And real quick before we continue, in the comments, C. Birch, I think it says, how do laugh my ass off, how exactly do I call in to this idiot? You can come on over to the Handsome Liberal on TikTok. We'll bring you right up. If you're on Instagram, the Handsome Liberal on Instagram is another way. So we're currently live on Instagram, TikTok. You're watching us on YouTube and also Facebook. So come on over. We'll bring you right up. That's how you can reach this idiot without any hesitation. Thanks for your comment. Go ahead. So, and I see in the comments, JPT Farm says MAGA is easily fooled. Would you agree to that? Do you think MAGA is easily fooled?
Yeah, I think they are. You know, I mean, you look at everything that's going on with the farmers and everything like that. They're getting their asses handed to them because of the tariffs. You know, do you think
if the farmers could do it all over again, would they vote for Kamala Harris? Would they actually change their vote? Are they getting hammered enough that if they had a chance to do it all over again, they'd vote for Kamala Harris? Do you think they would do that?
Yes.
Really?
I think they would. I mean, this is all hindsight right now with what we're talking
about.
Yeah,
I mean, we're just guessing. Yeah.
It's a done deal. But, you know, okay, so let's go to the Democrat side, right? The Democrats failed. I had a conversation with you about this last time too. And the thing is that they failed to paint the big picture on what was going on. And so people went with affordability with what Trump was promising. He says, oh, I'll bring grocery prices down. I'll bring drug prices down. I'll make healthcare more affordable, even though that was a cluster and it's just blowing up in his face. And, and he preyed on these individuals' anxieties. And I think that, some were just not convinced by the Democrats that things were going to get better more under their leadership. And the thing is, too, with the Biden era, also, they failed to get their accomplishments out there. And, but they also failed to appeal to the American people. They made it too much about Trump, and they didn't make it enough about the American people and how to get
but that, something,
affordability.
I don't disagree that they made it too much about Trump, which is why I always get hammered when I say Kamala Harris was a bad candidate, because they didn't make it about Kamala or Biden, they didn't produce anybody that the voters on the left really liked. The voters on the left was voting against Trump. They were not voting for any liberal. So you're correct when you say they made it too much about against Trump. They didn't make it favorable to anybody that was running.
Right. No, I agree with you. It's just everybody, that when they finally convinced Biden to drop out, they just rallied around Harris. They didn't give any other candidate an opportunity. The DNC just said, nope, this is our candidate. We're going with them. No primaries, no nothing. It was just abrupt. And the thing is that they set Kamala up for failure. And I was, in my own way, I was pissed when I heard they said Biden was dropping out and they were putting Harris in. Granted, I was for Harris, but it's not enough time.
Right.
And it was a setup for failure.
But right now, just in speculating, because we don't know, you do believe in many areas Trump has failed so much that, like the farmers, you believe if they could vote now, Kamala Harris would beat Trump.
If they had a choice, yes, I would. But the thing is, though, is that they did not acknowledge that to the farm. They didn't disclose that to the farmers, and that's another reason again why they lost. They need to see if there's another Democrat candidate that's going to come into the arena in 2028, right? They need to be pulling in people on both sides. Even the red states, and that's what needs to appeal. You have to appeal to both individuals.
Yeah. I don't know though. Is there anything, just like I've asked a few liberals, is there anything Trump could do to make you see him more favorably? And they often say no. I'm going to tell you, Sam, I don't think there's much that the liberals could do to make the MAGA side see them more favorable. I think for at least a generation or so, MAGA's not going to favor liberals no matter who you put in there, unless it's somebody that is incredibly moderate. I guess like a Joe Manchin type or a Christian Sinema type. So it kind of works both ways. So I don't know. I don't know if there's any way, and absolutely not while Trump is alive, trolling the hell out of the liberals, because he's really good at coming up with social issues, boogeymen, and things like that. So I don't know how it could be done.
It's going to take time. 2026 will determine a lot of what's going to happen in 2028, obviously. And I honestly think it's a sinking ship for the GOP in 2026.
You think Trump is fucked up that bad?
Well, oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. Just individuals, that I've been talking to that, we're leaning Republican. I'm hearing, and I'm in a swing state, and I'm hearing this from individuals.
What state are you in? I'm just curious.
Michigan.
Okay, you're in the Whitmer, right?
Gretchen Whitmer. Governor is Gretchen Whitmer.
Is she running in 20? Is she up for re-election in 26, or is it further out?
She's done in 2026. Yeah.
Oh, so she can't run again? She's not running again, or what?
This is she's served her 2 terms.
Oh, so they have a term limit.
Yeah.
Ron DeSantis is dealing with the same thing. You think she has any other aspirations? She wanted to be president before. Do you think she may go take a run at it?
I think she might try. I don't think I like Gretchen Whitmer. I think she's done a good job here, but I don't think she's the candidate that we need for 2028 at this time. You know, I'm all for, you know, it's fine to have a woman president. I'm all for that. You know, they say breaking that glass ceiling. That was the other thing on what they failed with going back to 2024 elections. It was about breaking that glass ceiling. That's great. We can get there. Mm-hmm. But right now, we need a candidate, like I said, to pull people in on both sides. And if it is a woman, more power to them. But we need the right candidate, and I don't think it's going to be Gretchen Whitmire.
Before I move it on from you, any idea who you think could pull it off?
Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom, huh? Well, I don't know where I got it over here. You know, I keep my presidential memorabilia, but I do have Gavin Newsom artifacts over here that we're trying to see. Gavin Newsom, we'll see what happens, but okay. All right, fair enough. Right. Fair enough. I don't know, Gavin, but he's kind of Trump, just the liberal version of him. He's trolling and doing all of that. I mean, but some folks would bring up that they believe California is a financial mess. Crime in Los Angeles, in the Oakland, the Bay Area, San Francisco, the cost of living in California is ridiculous. You think that he can pull it off?
It's a possibility. I think that he could have an appeal to individuals, including Republicans, you know, come 2028. We'll have to see what the political climate is at that time when we get there. But yeah, at this time, and from what, you know, data is suggesting, is that, you know, Gavin Newsom is the one at this time. But yes, yeah, California is in a lot of predicaments too.
Just hopefully if he runs or somebody else runs, it's about him and not the anti-Trump vote. And obviously, Trump is not supposed to be the candidate they're running against either. But no matter who the Republicans put up, the Democrats are going to tie that person to Trump because Trump is the boogeyman. But whoever the Democrats are running, you know, or are putting up to lead the charge, it has to be somebody that people want to vote for, as opposed to just voting against the Republican Party. We obviously tried that last year. It didn't work. But Gavin Newsom, I think you're not the only one. So no Gretchen Whitmer. Some folks are saying that just simply putting a woman up is almost suicide anyway. I don't know. But I got to move it on, Sam. Gavin Newsom. You pick him over Gretchen? Sir.
You know, it depends on what the data would suggest, right? It's who's the best candidate to get things back together in my book. And, you know, if it's Gavin Newsom, if it's Gretchen Whitmire, then, you know, we'll cross that bridge once we get there. But, you know, we have to get to 2026 first and see how that goes. And I don't think it's going to be good for the GOP.
Well, remains to be seen. Less than a year. Appreciate you coming through, Sam.
Yep, thanks, Tim. You have a good night.
You too. Real quick in the comments, Ed says, if those boats are innocent, talking about the Venezuelan boats, will you forgive and forget Trump like you did Biden for those 7 kids? Or you guys care when Republicans do war crimes, Afghans' lives don't matter? I think it'll go the way you're saying it. I think that if for some reason it turns out the Trump administration are bombing and killing innocent people, I don't think the Democrats will view it the same way they viewed what you're saying that Biden did. For the simple fact of double standards are real. Now, I'm not for certain what Biden did, what you're saying. I'd have to look it up. But even if Biden committed a war crime, which is what you're trying to indicate, no, the Democrats are going to hold Trump to a higher account than Biden. That's just like if it was reversed, your side would hold the left to a higher account than the right. I mean, that's just what happens. For instance, sleepy Joe Biden. Now that President Trump is being caught falling asleep all over the place in public, you ain't holding him accountable the way you held Biden accountable. I mean, there is a double standard in politics, and it exists on both sides of the aisle. It's not just on one side. Trump could do all sorts of things that you may have held Biden or Obama accountable for, and you would not hold them accountable, such as spending. The Republican Party often suggests they're for fiscal responsibility. Trump is a big spender. You would hold a liberal accountable for excessive spending. You're not going to hold Trump accountable for it. It's a double standard. I mean, it's just how it works in politics. Both sides do it. Real quick before we continue on, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. And thank you, T2, friend of the program. Shout out to you. reality bites, but you love Gavin. I won't say I love Gavin. I mean, I like the fact that he is energizing for the other side, just like Trump is, though. He has a lot of similarities there. Damn, he missed his white MAGA friend. Who's my white MAGA friend there, T2? Let me know. And while you're doing that, we'll go ahead and talk to MAGA Reacts. Good evening, MAGA Reacts.
Hey, what's going on?
Shit, nothing much at all. Just, you know what I always say? Like Jesse Jackson at a Klan meeting, just hanging around. So, why do you the perfect guy to ask this? You are a Trump supporter. Trump is not meeting a host of his campaign promises yet. Many are suggesting that the guy is best president we've ever had, if not at least in our lifetime in American history. Why is the love for Trump still so high when he's not meeting a host of his campaign promises? What say you?
Because we see him working hard on it every day. He's working every day on it and updating us every day. And, you know, he's there on TV every day, showing us what he's doing, telling us what he's doing, keeping us updated.
So him working on his campaign promises, even though he didn't meet him, and even though some of them have officially failed, that's enough to make him the best president of our lifetime? You don't actually have to succeed, just show you're working on it?
Yeah, working is the most important part. As long as you show good effort the entire time you're president, that will get you plenty far. I mean, results matter too, but he's still in his first year. Now, come his second or third year, he's going to need to show more results. But
so what would make that any different, as one of my viewers is pointing out, Further Great, what would make that any different than a participation trophy, where you're giving him credit for effort, not actual success? And by the way, some of the stuff he promised was to be done in the first year. So he's actually failing on some stuff. He didn't promise to work on ending the Ukraine war over a year or 3 years. He promised to do it in 24 hours. So that's a promise he's officially failed on. Same thing with him saying he's going to cut energy bills in half in the first 12 months. He's going to officially fail on that.
Of course, he's still doing that. He's still working on both things every fucking day.
So
it's not like he completely gave up because he couldn't do it in one day. And it's like a football team playing in the Super Bowl. Do you say, just a participation trophy because they're just in the first quarter? I mean, participation trophies are given at the end.
I don't see how you're giving a guy, people are giving this man the title of best president in our lifetime or in history. And I'm asking you why, and the best you're giving me is because he works on stuff.
We've never had any president before him keep us constantly updated and telling us how hard he's working on keeping those promises.
Updated on what?
Once they're president, they don't even mention most of the promises anymore. They just do whatever they want, especially if they're lame duck, like Trump is a lame duck president because he can't run again. You know, they do whatever they want.
I don't know, man, because a lot of stuff
that doing what he promised, and he's still working, and he's still updating on us, and it's still his first year. Now, come his second or third year, if he still hasn't.
I'm going to say what you're talking about is a real low bar. So any president in the future, just try to work on what you promised and talk to the people every day, and that'll make you one of the best in history. That's all you got to do. The bar is that low.
I don't know about the future, but in the past, we didn't get that in the past. Well, who in the past? I mean, MAGA.
We've had guys. Wait a minute. We've had guys in our lifetime talking about Reagan may not be in your lifetime, but he's in my lifetime. We've had guys defeat the Soviet Union. We've had, we've had folks like Obama get rid of Bin Laden and give us health care. We've had the Clinton economy. With Trump, you're giving us that he works on stuff and he talks to us every day. What has he accomplished to get this title?
Reagan's a good comparison because he kept meeting with Gorbachev, and I'm sure nothing came out of it.
Reagan accomplished stuff. Huh? Reagan accomplished things. What has Trump accomplished?
He didn't, like when he first met Gorbachev, the Soviet Union didn't end the next day. It still took to like 92 for them to go away. So we'll see the results of his accomplishments come, the end of the term. But you're expecting the results the next day, like he's God or something.
No. I'm fine with suggesting that He's trying, and we'll see the accomplishments, 3 years, 4 years down the line, or whatever it is. But until that's done, you don't give him the title of something great. It's give him an incomplete. We're grading him as the best while admitting he hasn't accomplished anything yet. That doesn't make any sense.
No, he's accomplished some things.
Like
but
what?
you're,
Give me some
really
examples.
nitpicking.
Give me some
Yeah,
examples.
I
Give me
suppose
something
the
that give me something that
and,
defends. Give me something that defends the title the best.
Well, first of all, despite what you say, he hasn't really started any new wars. Even Venezuela is not a war.
Yeah, he has started wars. That's false. He has started wars. The only reason why they're not wars is because the other countries did not fight back. Bombing the nuclear facilities in Iran is definitely a declaration of war or an act of war. If somebody done it to us, we would be at war. If somebody did that to us, we would be at war with them. Just because that's like me being 3 times your size and hitting you in the face, and because you just let me do it, that means I didn't start a fight because you didn't hit me back. Everything I did was attempting to start a fight. You just chickened out. That's all it is. Iran just chickened out. It was an act of war.
He didn't promise to be a pacifist. He promised no long-term conflicts where we dump a lot of money. This was one strike to destroy the enemy's nuclear facility.
Was it an act of war?
Oh. I mean, he didn't say no acts of war. He said no wars. A war is multiple conflicts across like a long period.
Well,
one strike does not make.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but do you believe bombing their nuclear facilities was an act of war?
Yeah.
All right then.
No, well, that goes without saying. But he didn't promise no. He didn't promise to be a pacifist. He didn't promise no acts of war. He just promised no new wars, no new long conflicts.
Well.
And
you can't bomb somebody's nuclear facilities and meet that promise unless you.
How does that compare to Ukraine and the Gaza conflict? Did those end in 12 days?
No, the only that's what I'm saying. You could meet Trump's promise by just bombing really weak nations compared to America. So yeah, I'm not creating any lone conflicts because I'm only going to bomb countries that I know are not going to respond because they know we'll beat them real quick. Like Venezuela, for instance, that's another example. What he's doing off the coast.
Iraq and Afghanistan?
Yeah, Afghanistan, as long as you don't put any U.S. troops on the ground in Iraq or Afghanistan, you could have bombed them all day. Iraq is not going to come to America. They didn't have enough force to come over here. If we had did to Iraq and Afghanistan what Trump did to Iran, they wouldn't have responded either. If you just blow them up from the air, the Afghans can't launch any kind of overseas attack.
What Trump promised is no new, never-ending war. So no new Syria, no new Afghanistan, no new Ukraine. And he hasn't done anything that comes close to Ukraine or Syria or Libya or Gaza or any of that shit. He hasn't started anything that comes even close.
The only difference between Trump and Bush or some of these other presidents is he didn't put boots on the ground. Like I said, America could use its air power and commit all kinds of atrocities to other countries. And as long as we don't put boots on the ground, we would get away with it because a lot of countries do not have enough might to launch a transatlantic, trans-Pacific attack on the U.S. mainland. They can't do nothing about it. You could probably we could probably destroy probably 80% of the countries on Earth without worrying about them coming back and doing them here. They just don't have the forces. So it ain't like he ain't trying to start a war. He just didn't put boots on the ground where we have now regular human beings walking around where it's easier to shoot them.
Until an actual war starts, he still has kept that promise. Until we're in actually a long-term war like Vietnam or like Afghanistan or Iraq or any of these stupid wars we had before, he's kept that promise.
Yeah. See, like I said, the only difference between him and the other presidents is he didn't put actual troops on the ground. That's it. Because once you put troops on the ground, what?
It was only like strikes. It was never an actual war. Like this is just strikes.
Okay, a strike can come from a jet. It can come from a helicopter. It can come from a tank. It can come from the round of an AK-47. A strike can come from anything. I'm saying as long as you keep the strikes from just the air, it's not going to be a long drawn out war because nobody can compete with us in air power. It's when you put the troops on the ground where they can actually get shot by small arms fire is when it drags out. That's the only difference between Trump and these other presidents. He didn't put anybody on the ground. That's it. That's the only difference.
But he also didn't start something like Ukraine. The Ukraine war, nothing like that started under him. The Gaza thing, nothing like that started under him. And he did I think you're saying the same thing I'm saying. The only difference is Trump did not put troops on the ground. That is it. Okay.
That's it.
All right.
He's starting wars. He's just not putting troops on the ground.
He kept his promise. You're just being very technical. You're like, he never promised to be a pacifist. He never promised no strikes. He didn't. All he promised is no long, never-ending wars, and he hasn't gotten us into one long, never-ending war.
No,
his first term or this term.
And like I just told you, if you only strike from the air, you could do that from now to eternity, and you'll never start a long war because nobody's going to deal with U.S. air might. And as long as you don't put a troop on the ground, you can keep saying it over and over again. You could go and bomb 50 countries and say, well, I didn't start any long, drawn-out wars because you just bombed them from the air. You're committing war. You just know you're doing it in a way that they can't respond.
You're committing acts of war, but you're not in a war. And
yeah, because they're not hitting back.
Start doing the wars.
Yeah, and that goes to the example I gave you earlier, where one guy can hit you in the face, and because you're not hitting them back, he can say, well, I'm not in a fight. It's just, I'm just hitting you. You're not hitting me back because you're frightened. So I can say I'm not in the fight because you're not swinging back. That's all it is.
But again, until somebody swings back at us, he still kept that promise. Until someone swings back and we're in a prolonged war, even like a prolonged proxy war, he still kept his promise. I'll give you a proxy war where we're funding someone else.
Okay.
Which, as far as I'm concerned, that started under Biden, and he hasn't started anything.
So these boats, now, I'm sure you've heard now that they've actually come out and admitted that they ordered a double tap to kill people that were floating at sea. They've came out and admitted that. What is your take on that? Do you see that as a war crime, like many are suggesting?
I gotta get the details. Like I said, I get most of my news from you because I've been working all day. So I don't know what they admitted, who admitted it, how they worded it, how you're misunderstanding it. I gotta see that. Do you have a video?
Yeah, I got a little. This is what is her name? Karine. What is the girl's name? The spokesperson for Trump, 28-year-old with the 50-something-year-old husband. Anyway, I can't think of her name right now.
Carolina or something. I don't know.
With respect to the strikes in question on September 2nd, Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated. And I would just add one more point to remind the American public.
Now, and to me, it's kind of like a version of talking aloud and saying nothing. She is admitting that they did it. But the way she's wording it really says nothing. But what she is admitting, because she was questioned on whether or not they actually ordered a second strike. You know, they blew up the boat, apparently whatever cargo they claim was in it, whether it's fentanyl or not. But once the boat was destroyed and the people are hanging on to the rubble, or better yet, the wreckage is the word I'm looking for, they ordered a second strike. Pete Hegseth allegedly saying kill everybody. She was questioned on it. She didn't deny it. In fact, the Trump administration is not denying it, but this is how they're responding to it, which really doesn't say shit other than the fact that they're not denying it shows it actually happened. So I'm asking you, do you think if it went down the way I just told you, is that a war crime?
I know what you said it, yeah, but that's not what I heard, not in that video.
What did you hear? Yeah, exactly. What did you hear in this video?
The same thing I told you the other day, that he approved a strike on the boats. He said you could kill the people on the boats. I don't know if he said you could double strike them and kill the survivors.
And I agree with what you're saying,
kill
because
the survivors, make sure there's no witnesses, leave nobody alive. Or did he just say you could kill the people on the boat?
Yeah, and I agree with the way you're wording it, because like I just pointed out, she's talking loud and saying nothing. She really is saying much of nothing here, other than she was questioned on a double tap of people that are basically disarmed at sea. And she responds this way, which doesn't really tell you anything. If it's somebody like yourself who hasn't been watching the news,
you're saying she admitted to something.
She's not. Well, she was questioned on them ordering the double tap, and she didn't deny it. She gave that as an answer.
I don't know how you'd even deny it. You can't deny it without putting the boat captain on fire, like you would be hanging him out to dry.
Did you not just hear her do that?
No. Oh, she just fucking kept her shit plain. I mean, the guy had authority to
she named the individual. Now, wait, she's named the individual. She actually named the guy who did it.
Yeah, he had orders to attack the boat. We both agree on that. But did he have orders to leave no survivors, to kill survivors, to make sure to leave no witnesses, to kill people?
That's what they questioned her on. And she came back with it. She didn't say, no, there's no way we would have blew up a boat that, had, guys at sea. There's no way we would have. Notice she's not denying anything. She's just not giving a clear answer. It's just vague. Like what you're admitting, it's not saying shit. It's just vague.
Exactly. She's not saying shit. So why are you making it sound like she confessed?
Because you were asked a direct question is why. That's why she was asked about a double tap. She was asked about a double tap, killing people at sea, which is a war crime that clearly meant no danger. They're at sea hoping to survive. She was asked about that, and that is the response she gave, which, as you're admitting and I'm admitting, it don't say shit. In other words, she dodged the question.
Yeah, that's politics. What do you want me to say? When she says clearly that he did it, then we'll talk. But as far as I'm concerned, she dodged the question.
Yeah, but if you're being asked about a war crime as heinous as what was being questioned to her, and you dodge the question, to me, that speaks volumes. That's like you come in at 3 a.m. and your wife says, "Were you with another woman?" and you dodge the question. You don't even need to answer it at that point. It's pretty clear.
That's politics 101.
No, you don't.
You know who's really good at that? Queen Pierre and the girl before her.
No, but
that's dodging. What do you call what they did?
You can't. If somebody asks you a question in regards to a clear-cut war crime and you dodge it, to me, you just answered the question. You don't see it that way. You say it's politics, but politics can also be confessing to something without confessing. If you dodge a question like that, did you guys kill 2 people at open sea, and you dodge that, which the fact that it's so awful to do something like that, your clear answer should be, hell no, we would never do that. That's a crime. The fact that you dodge something like that, did you shoot your wife? Well, if you're dodging that question, it means you probably done it, is what I'm saying.
Listen, she gave the political/lawyer answer to it, where she, like you said, she said nothing.
Yeah.
So if she said nothing, doesn't mean she fucking pled guilty or admitted to doing a crime.
Yeah, but she said
nothing. You said it yourself.
But does it concern you? Does it concern you why she would not have been clear and said, no, we didn't do that?
Because I don't know the whole situation. I told you, most likely the guy misunderstood his orders or took it on himself to finish these people off without really asking. Because this was the first strike. Like I said, when it happened again in the other strike, they saved them because they learned from their first mistake.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this: since you're admitting you haven't seen enough of this, I'm questioning you on something that you're admitting you don't know a lot about. So I'll leave it at that. I'll go ahead and move it on. But
no, when it happened again, on strike number 10, they saved the people and they returned them to their country.
We're not talking about strike number 10. We're not talking about strike number 10, Maggie. We're talking about them clearly asking her, "Did you kill people who were stranded at sea?" We're not talking about strike number 10. They asked the question specifically. Why are you giving this kind of an answer to that?
Because that's what they do. You act like this is the first time they do this. That's
why would they do that? Why would they do something like? Why would they give a vague answer to somebody asking them, did they commit murder?
There is no good answer to that question.
It is.
No, or whether you say yes. There is no good answer to that question.
Yeah, the good answer to the question. Yeah, there's a good answer to the question. No, we would never commit an act of murder. That's the good answer.
Okay, I mean, the act of murder requires intent, whether they did it by accident or, she would have to, it was not her. It's the commander of the fucking mission.
You destroyed the boat and the people are left holding on to the wreckage and you fire a second time. It requires an act of intent? I think that's the intent when you fire the second missile.
Murder requires an active intent. Yes.
So do you believe, let me ask you yourself, if there's nothing left but two people floating in the water holding on to wreckage and you shoot the people holding on to the wreckage, is that murder in your opinion?
I've already said several times, and yeah,
it's murder. So is it an act of intent?
I don't know. I don't know what was in the guy's head, why he did it. If he did it by mistake, or he did it on purpose, if he misunderstood his orders, or if his orders actually said to leave no survivors. That would be the smoking gun right there.
Yeah, but
if the order said, leave no survivors.
Give me let's speculate here. Let's speculate and just guess. Give me some orders that would justify shooting somebody holding on to wreckage in open sea. What, other than it being murder, what else could it be in your opinion?
I mean, like I told you, if the order was to leave no survivors, leave no witnesses,
is that murder?
Prisoners, then that's murder.
Okay, what else could it be other than murder? Give me another speculation on any way to make this not murder. Two people holding on wreckage in open sea. Is there any way that this is not murder?
I mean, it's going to be manslaughter at the least. I'll give you that, but I don't know if you could commit manslaughter in the military.
I don't know, buddy. But so you are admitting that what was done was wrong. And then, of course, her answer. I'll go ahead and move it on. I'll move it on. But her answer to that question, you're admitting is vague. I'm admitting is vague. To a damning question like that is ridiculous.
Politics 101. It's politician being a politician. She is the voice of a politician.
I don't disagree with that. But there's a time when being a politician pretty much implies guilt. If somebody asks you if you slept with an underage minor and you don't say no, being a politician is not going to be acceptable in certain circumstances. They're asking her, did you commit an act of murder? Being a politician is not acceptable under those circumstances. Either the answer is no or not. You either did it or the answer is no. All these other runaround answers, it shows that you did it.
That's the problem I have with you. Not everything is black and white like that. I wish everything was black and white and we have clear answers for everything, but it's never like that.
Okay.
That's why me and Michael come on here, talk about the same exact thing, and come up with different answers, because he sees it one way, I see it one way.
Yeah, you and I vehemently disagree.
What's close to red?
We totally disagree on this one, but appreciate you coming on. Anyway, looking in the comment, by the way, tap the screen, get us on up to 80,000. Yeah, to me, I agree with you for the great. This is about as black and white as it comes. If they ask you, did you take out stragglers at sea? There is no gray area to that. You blew up their vessel. They're hanging on to wreckage. You order a second shot to be fired. There's no gray area to that. There's nothing you can say that makes that a gray area. So I don't, like I said, there's a time when playing politician is acceptable, and there's other times when playing politics is essentially an admission of guilt. What she is doing here is an admission of yes. It's an admission of guilt. I mean, that's a strong question to ask. Did you guys murder somebody? That you can't play politics to something like that. And what he was trying to make it sound like something was, she's playing politics or whatever. Like, to me, you play politics, then you're kind of admitting, yeah, we did it. Their fishing boat, says Catchy. I don't know. Look, whatever they are, I don't care if they're actual drug boats. Once the boat is destroyed, you don't kill the survivors. It don't matter. It doesn't, listen, even if we were actually at war with a country and you destroyed their destroyer or whatever vessel they had at sea. I'm talking about an armed boat, an armed military seagoing vessel that was actively trying to destroy U.S. ships. If you blow that up and there are stragglers at sea holding on to life vests and wreckage, you cannot kill the people that are floating around in the water. So it really doesn't matter what the original cargo or the original boat was about. Once the boat is destroyed and the people are now harmless in the water, you cannot kill them. That's international law. You cannot do that. So it doesn't really matter at that point. Even if they're in an enemy sub or something, like, you can't kill people straggling in water. It's a crime, period. And I do agree with you for the great due process would solve a lot of this stuff. It would absolutely solve a lot of this. That's normally only Trump supported a car. No, we got a few. Like I said, I wish we would have more. Leroy, what is it? Leroy Master. I wish there would be more. Anyway, we'll go back to the box. We'll go to Jeremy. Good evening, Jeremy. Hopefully it brings him up. Big Tim, can you give a shout out to my son? I'll just go with Chupa. I don't know what the rest of that says. From Pueblo, New Mexico. Shout out to you there, Spiky. Auto pin Biden. Well, Biden's gone. Don't call Tim's show. He don't listen to Republicans anyhow. Says catch something happy. All right, whatever you say that. I listen to you in the comments. There you go. They fucked up plain and simple, says Miller Cruz. I agree. Miller Cuz, yeah. Debating war crimes, comment on intent, says AI. Let me go back to the box. It did not bring up Jeremy. Help your boy out with the TikTok crown goal. KJ. Good evening, KJ. Welcome to the program. KJ.
How's it going?
Hey, so what do you think? You think that Trump administration under Pete Hegseth would even order people that are helplessly floating to be killed?
Do I think he would actually order that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what about what my last caller said? You think there was just plain politics when questioned on it?
You know, the thing that I noticed listening to that last caller, and this is the thing that bugs me when it comes to people that support Trump. The main function of the president of the United States is to be a representative and to speak well and relay a clear message. But when it comes to people like him, that's not what he meant. It's always that's not what he meant. No,
you're taking him out of context.
Yeah, you're taking him out of context. Don't use his exact words. This is what he meant, you know, and that's not true. You know, I absolutely. But one of the things I wanted real quick, you had a gentleman on a few callers ago, and you were asking about how in the 14 tenets of fascism, how you connected the religion and state. And he told you the Trump Bible. And you said that wasn't quite enough. But do you know what also is in the Trump Bible?
The Constitution.
And the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, but it's not being forced upon anybody. They came close in Oklahoma. But other than that,
I
Trump,
understand that.
Yeah, Trump is selling the Bible, and he may have meshed those all together, but that's just into some product he's selling. He's not forcing it on the population.
And see, and I'm going to humbly disagree with that, right? If you're going to meld with Christian nationalism, if you're going to meld the Bible with the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and then you have the 10 Commandments in Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana, right? And he's in complete support of that. It totally, in my opinion, follows with one of those tenets of fascism. You know, when you're talking about that, when he talks about Christianity and his Bible and how he was, you know, a miracle from God when they attempted his assassination and he didn't get killed, you know, and those kinds of things. He's definitely bringing, especially for a guy that's never gone to church. He's just melding in Christianity.
I don't, you know something? I don't get that. You're right. For a guy that is not known to be religious, why MAGA sees him as, you know, because when I went to a Trump rally, I had a Trump supporter. I was in line waiting like 5 hours to get in the rally. And somebody told me that Trump was sent to make this nation great by God. I don't understand why they give him such eternal credits when he don't even come across as, in fact, he said he's not Christian. He actually came out and said it.
Right. And holds the Bible upside down for his pose and whatnot. You know, it's all a grift for him, you know, but when you want to believe in something, I guess that's just what happens, you know, and I'm not a religious guy, you know. I read a book, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it was basically the 500-year history of the United States. And it's no surprise that people believe this crazy shit because that's kind of how this country was founded. People running from another place so they could believe whatever the hell they wanted to believe.
So what is like the old 1980 song, Give Them Something to Believe in?
Yes, very much so.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, listen, folks suggest that the Democrats under Kamala Harris is going to destroy the whole damn country. So I'm asking, is it possible they voted for Trump just because he was a lesser of two evils?
I think that they say that he's the lesser of two evils, but the reality is anybody that tries to say he's the lesser of two evils is simply racist. And I'll say that out loud. That's my opinion.
Anybody that says Trump is the lesser of two evils is simply racist. How about this? Leroy in the comments says, I'm not judging by his faith. I'm looking at his job. So in other words, faith has nothing to do with this individual's decision. He's saying that, look, Trump does a better job as commander-in-chief than Biden or Kamala Harris.
Then better at his job than the most qualified person to ever run for president, who served in all three forms of our government. Then he's better. I mean, the reality is, and it really sucks, but apparently this country isn't ready for a woman, let alone a black woman. When they attack the fact that, oh, now she's black, now she's Indian, and they kind of do that kind of garbage, I mean, it's to me, it's racist garbage. I mean, the reality is that she is the most qualified candidate that we've had probably ever, to be honest with you. Wow. I can't think of another candidate that had served in state government, in federal government, as a vice president of the United States, as a senator of the United States. You
think she was more qualified when she became president than Joe Biden, who had his whole adult life in Washington?
Well, now that's the thing is yes and no, because what did Joe Biden do before he was a senator?
Congress.
Right. But what did she do? She served in state government. He'd always served in federal government. He never done state government.
Really?
Right? She served in state government, federal government.
You think Kamala Harris is more qualified for president than Joe Biden? That's
as a resume. As a resume, yes. On the resume, on paper, yes. I think that. Did I like her as a candidate? No, not necessarily. I thought we could have picked somebody that would have appealed better. Honestly, I looked at that ticket and I wish the ticket was reversed. I liked Tim Walz better than I liked Kamala Harris as a candidate.
I actually said that myself, that the Democrats need a straight white Christian male. Right now, they're just not ready for a female, and the minority just only makes it worse. Well, how about this? Mike in the comments says, why do you spend all your airtime? Now, he's talking about me, but I want you to tackle this. Says, why do you spend all, in caps, all your airtime hating a person who is making people better, at least Americans? So, because I'm not the only one that obviously is critical of Trump on some issues. Why are the Democrats critical of Trump when he is simply making people better, predominantly Americans? What say you?
I say that I have a brother that is 4 years younger than I am. I am 51. He is 47. He's a two-time convicted felon who doesn't even know what a ballot looks like. But when Trump came along, he got interested in politics and went, yeah, fuck your feelings. Tell me that's making people better. That's not making anybody better. That guy draws out the worst in any person. That's really what he does. It's divisive. You take a population that's less than 1% of the United States population and make everybody think it's this epidemic across the country, that they're trying to turn kids into trans and all that garbage. He brings out the worst in people, and then you take a kind-hearted person that voted for him. I was just talking to a friend of mine that I work with today, and I was listening to a video, and every time I talk to him and I'm like, yeah, but Trump did this. He's like, yeah, but I really hope he's going to do this. And I'm like, yeah, but he did this, and this the last 6 times. Yeah, but I hope it's going to be different this time. Because he's a kind person, but Trump says he's going to do something. He thinks he's going to do it. Make the economy better, make things cheaper, end the war in Ukraine in a day. All the different promises that you've been talking to people about that he hasn't completed. But then you get people go, well, at least he's trying. That makes
how does that work where you can not actually meet your promises, but people still give you credit simply because you're trying?
Because they believe a guy that walks up and stands directly in front of a camera and a microphone and says, I've reduced drug prices 1,500, 1,600, 1,800%. And they go, yeah, without realizing that if you reduce a $10 drug, 1,500%, you're going to pay me $140 or what is it? What is the math on that? 1,500%. Yeah. $140 to take that drug.
Well, I got Melissa in the comments giving him credit. What about the fact that he closed the border? She's saying gas is down. He stopped 8 wars.
Gas is down and he stopped 8 wars. Well, first off, we don't have any proof that he stopped 8 wars other than the fact that he says he stopped 8 wars. One of those wars that I know in particular was between Pakistan and India, which both said he had nothing to do with anything. We never heard from the guy.
I would also add before you continue on, but I would also add that we were chastising Biden for everything that was going wrong under his watch, and I don't ever remember anybody talking about 8 different wars that were taking place under Biden's watch. I mean, so I don't know. All of a sudden, Trump becomes president because we remember no new war started under Trump. I don't recall anybody saying all 8 of these wars were going on under Biden. So obviously, they must have all started under Trump because I don't remember this.
I'm with you on that one. It's one of those that I don't know if you ever watched that comedian Jim Jeffries, but back in 2016 or 17, he did a comedy skit where he was like, Trump is like that guy running for class president. We're gonna have 2 soda machines in the cafeteria, and Jackson High School rules, and just that's what he is. None of it means anything when it comes out of his mouth. I can't believe a word he says.
I've seen Jeffries laugh. He's really anti-Trump laugh. He had security in front there. I mean, but he's funny. I like Jeffries. Yeah, I've seen him laugh. But wow, so at the end of the day, then Trump doesn't really have to accomplish anything because according to you, he can just tell MAGA he did, and that's all that's necessary.
100%.
What are you saying? They're not 100%. Smart? They don't know. You telling me MAGA don't know what grocery prices cost? They gotta eat. MAGA don't know if their electric bill is down.
I don't think that they care. That's the thing, right? Like there's something that's come there, and the thing is if you notice, like you've been on TikTok and I've seen you on other lives and whatnot, more and more MAGA are falling off and making videos of how no, the groceries aren't cheaper. My groceries aren't cheaper. I live in Washington State. Gas has fluctuated between $3.80 and $4.20 a gallon for the last 3 years. And okay, so right now it's at $3.85 a gallon. But do I attribute that to Trump? I didn't attribute that to Biden. But I'll tell you right now, my groceries aren't cheaper. My power isn't cheaper.
Well, Trump Trump did state under his watch, Thanksgiving dinner was 25% less.
That also included 7 less items in that same dinner.
Yeah. Well,
Walmart came out and confirmed that. They said, yes, he's saying it's 25% less, but there's also 30% less items in it. It's actually more expensive.
I had MAGA defending that. We did several shows discussing that. MAGA were telling me that the grocery prices were down in their areas.
And it's hard to discuss anecdotal experience because they're up in my area. You know what I mean? So you have to go on basic national averages. And when things like that are said, the national average on gas is nowhere near $2 a gallon, like he keeps saying. Yeah. The national average on groceries is up, not down. Yeah. So I mean, that's just the reality. When he made the claim about the Thanksgiving meal, Walmart came out and made the statement that they actually have less in the meal this year. That's why it's cheaper.
Well, listen, Trump has a unique power that he can say whatever. I mean, listen, it's good. It's good work if you can get it. I got to move it on, but it's awesome to be like him. Last word. What's
right?
Up? Go ahead. I'll give you the last. No, I'm saying it's awesome to be able to say whatever and it works.
Yeah.
Last word on you.
Real quick, I just want to tell you, I really appreciate your style. Right? You're the only person I've given any kind of money of any kind and any sort to on this app simply because I really like your style. You don't call anybody dumb. You even when you disagree, you just say, yeah, but what about this? And it's never really, I just really appreciate that in you. And I wanted you to know that. And so thank you.
I really appreciate your support. My door's open to you anytime, man. Thanks for coming through.
You have a good night.
You too. All right, that is KJ, folks. By the way, That is one of our core tenets of the program ever since we started. Is we don't talk down to guests. That's something we've always practiced here and always will. You don't have to agree with anyone on this program, including yours truly. What do we say? You can be critical of anybody on the program, including the host. We don't talk down to guests. There's so many places you can go on social media where everybody's screaming and cussing each other out. We don't do that here. Now, some of the guests are, as you may be aware, do partake in said activity, often aimed at me or other folks in the comment section or whatever, but we don't do that here. I believe in giving all of my viewers respect, regardless of their political leanings, and you'll see that demonstrated on every show. By the way, Miss Mobetta says, cuss you out. Yeah, I get called all kinds of names on the program. Listen, some folks are passionate about their political beliefs. Maybe they're passionate that what you're saying sounds fucking stupid as hell, so they go off on you. Listen, I get it. I understand. People are losing their farms. They're losing their homes. They're losing their jobs. I understand this is a very I don't want to say dark, but I'll say at least passionate time in political history. People are losing a lot. People are getting kicked out. Their neighbors are getting kicked out of the country. People are seeing a lot go on right now. So I'm willing to be a glutton for punishment or accept a little bit of abuse on the program because I'm asking questions that can lead to that. I get it. That's what happens. That's the purpose of that. I mean, that's what comes along with being a host. So it is what it is. Thank you, KJ, for your support. By the way, tap the screen, get the likes on up to 85,000, if you will, and we will remain uncensored as the show goes on. And Tim We Trust says, I'm your average Joe. I don't know. I say stupid shit every time I comment. Who said that? Stir001. I said, no, you don't. Mine was just under $2 first term. Yeah, Trump said gas at one point earlier this year. He said the average price for gas was $1.98 a gallon. Look, I'm not going to put Trump just yet in the Biden category where Biden used to have a bunch of Bidenisms, but Trump does say a lot of stuff that ain't true. And there's just no denying it. He says a lot of things that are not true, which is the whole purpose of this show, is how the love and adoration is there for him when a lot of his campaign promises are simply not being met, such as.
By contrast, I'm announcing today that under my leadership, the United States will commit to the ambitious goal of slashing energy and electricity prices by half, at least half. We intend to slash prices by half within 12 months, at a maximum 18 months. And if it doesn't work out, you'll say, oh, well, I voted for him.
That ain't going to happen. 12 months, there's other clips of him where he just used the 12 months. Later in the campaign, he started saying up to 18 months. That ain't going to happen. You're going to be paying half on your light bill. Now, he's not talking about just price at the pump. He's talking about your light bill at home and everything. This is not going to happen. And of course, as he said, well, you'll just say I voted for him anyway. I mean, and he's right. That is probably what's going to happen, is people will just say I voted for him. But that ain't going to happen. That's a campaign promise he made that absolutely is not going to take place. In addition to that, this one you've probably heard because he said it numerous times as well.
And I'm pleased to report that today the United States has the strongest economy, the strongest borders, the strongest military, the strongest friendships, and the strongest spirit of any nation anywhere. We have the greatest economy right now. A lot of people don't see that. And I'm pleased to report that today the United
States is repeating, but strongest border is not even true. North Korea's border is stronger than ours. So we don't have the strongest border. He also said something about the strongest friendships. That ain't true. I mean, there's a lot of things he said in this clip that I don't even think is 20 seconds long that are not true. Strongest economy? I don't believe that's true. I mean, so he said a lot there, but a lot of that stuff is not true. MAGA Reaction said it's been 11.5 months. True. Trump has not even served a quarter of his term yet. The problem, though, is because he talks so much, just simply holding him accountable to the things he just said is what makes him only being in there 11.5 months kind of irrelevant. when you're promising to do things on day one and in 24 hours, you can't counter that when he's only been in office 11 and a half months. He personally put timestamps on his promises. He didn't say I'm going to do everything it takes to get your gas prices down to $2 a gallon or your energy prices down to half. He gave you a date. He didn't say I'm going to really make sure I use every connection I have to end the Russian-Ukrainian war. He gave you a time of 24 hours. So you can't talk about how long he's been in office because he has time-stamped how quick he can do everything. So he didn't end the Ukrainian war in 24 hours. Well, he's only been in office 11 months. He said 24 hours. Why are you telling me about 11 and a half months? He said 24 hours. He said day one. He's time-stamped all of his shit. So, I mean, is it wrong to hold the president accountable for what comes out of their mouth? Nobody made him say 24 hours. People would have been happy if he said, I'm going to do everything it takes to end this war. I believe I know Putin. I believe I have a relationship with Zelensky. I think I can get it done if you elect me. Nobody's making you add 24 hours to that. He did it. So that's on him. Looking in the comments, the value of the US dollar has gone down under Trump. Says wondering how. Hey Tim, were you ever on? No, I was not. I was a little kid. Some people see me and they say I look like the father from Good Times. You do realize the television show Good Times is like what, 30 years old? I mean, I would have been a very young lad back then. I was. It's more than 30 years old. It's probably 40. What year did Good Times? Probably the 70s or 80s. Oh, I would have been a kid. Real quick, looking in the, of course, wondering a weak dollar. Of course, wondering a weak dollar is better for the U.S. businesses. What? Don't forget, Trump said to drink bleach during COVID. Left my ass, I'm shaking my ass. He said it. He said disinfected. He never said bleach, by the way. All right, let me continue on with the program. I'll see if I can bring this individual up. If so, let me see here. Dollar goes down on everyone. It's called inflation. Question is by how much? I'm just going to simply say what we talked about earlier. How is the love and adoration for Trump, or why do they love him so much with so many campaign promises not being met? Now, we talked about this earlier. No new wars under his watch. He's obviously trying to start a war with Venezuela. He's obviously tried to start a war with Iran. The economy's not as strong as he promised it would be. America first. I guess I would say the jury's still out, but he promised to be an America first president. We're bailing out Argentina. Blue, I can't see the name of that, but thank you for Blue One Banks. Yeah! Thank you for the hat mustache. Help your boy out with that goal. We're almost there, folks. Thank you. The Law and Order Party. That's another promise he made. He's pardoning criminals every week. He just pardoned another Bernie Madoff type criminal today that had scammed people out of millions of dollars. Just did that today. So that's a campaign promise of him being a Law and Order Party. He's pardoning white collar criminals all over the fucking place. He promised the tariffs, but the damage they're doing is not what he campaigned on. He made it sound like the tariffs are going to make everybody much better off. I don't think there's anybody in the country right now that are jumping up and down and said, thanks for the tariffs. This made my business or my income go up. Most of the people that are talking about the tariffs have been hurt by them. He also campaigned on doing exactly the opposite of what he's doing in regards to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. He was going to give us transparency. He's given us silence and secrecy. We still don't know why Ghislaine Maxwell is in minimum security. We don't know why her life in prison was upgraded. So he's being anything but. We talked to MAGA Reacts earlier. He was talking about how transparent Trump is. He ain't transparent on that. We don't know why she's in minimum security. He's also not transparent on the Venezuelan boats either, but that's another one. Bailing out Argentina, I mentioned before, that wasn't a campaign promise. And of course, healthcare costs under Trump are expected to skyrocket come next month. Big, beautiful bill. So how is his love for the MAGA side of the aisle so strong, despite what I just said, up to and including folks saying he is the best president we've ever had, if not in our lifetime, in U.S. history. How did he get that title is what I want to hear, and I'll go straight to the box. Tamar, good evening. Welcome to the program. Now, Tamar, you were on a MAGA live with me the other day. It was a disaster.
What's up, Tim?
Hey, what's up, man? You was on a MAGA live with me the other day. That was a disaster.
Yes. What the hell was that, Tim?
A bunch of folks that were, I don't know.
Was crazy.
It was bad. I mean,
well, pull me up that quick because I had just chimed in.
it was cussing. It was insulting. It was terrible.
It was wrong. The whole thing about them saying that the North Atlantic slave trade wasn't more profitable than the Arab slave trade. That shit was bullshit.
It was terrible.
And whoever that Indian guy was, he was a dickhead. That Indian guy, the one that he tried to get smart with King Finn and everybody on it.
It was just a fiasco of over talking, censorship, muting people's microphones, and just disrespecting, cussing everybody out.
People too. He kept on. They wouldn't bring me back up.
Yeah.
He was a jerk. That was terrible.
Yeah. We'll since nobody else was there, we'll get into the program though. I'm asking, why do you believe that despite Trump not meeting a host of his campaign promises, folks are saying he's the best president we've ever had? Why is that?
Cult-like behavior, cult-like beliefs. You know why?
Cult. So what is it? What is it? He's at a point where nothing he can do is wrong? He can't do no wrong? Is that what you're trying to say? In
their mind, exactly. And they don't really care. That's what they voted for. I told you I had a old friend of mine that told me that's what they voted for. When I asked them about the piggy thing, oh, you guys are so sensitive about this and that, and we don't care about that. We don't care what he says. That's not why we like him. I mean, that's why we like him, because he's not like
a typical politician.
You know, like he's
Catch Bass Be Happy on YouTube says because he's the best. In other words, he's the best to ever do it.
Okay, but what has he done that makes him the best? Nobody can answer that. Nobody can answer that.
Then how about this? Joe Reed in the comments says, how do you think the world would have been if we voted for Kamala Harris?
It would be a lot better. I'll tell you that much.
You think she would have been a better president than Trump?
Yes. And what you were saying about her being a weak candidate, at first I did agree with that, but I'll say her biggest mistake was that she attached herself with the Biden's campaign team, and then she also attached herself with Dick Cheney and what's his daughter's name?
Liz Cheney. Did she really?
She kept on mentioning it. Oh, I'm being supported. You know, I've been endorsed by Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney, because when she came out, when she originally got the nomination for the for it, she came out hot. If you remember, she came out on top of like what her number. She came out actually ahead of Trump when she originally.
I think one of the biggest problems of Kamala Harris was she ignored the fact that she was doing terrible with male voters. I mean, you listen. You already got the women in the bag with the whole. Well, she didn't even win the women either, but the feminists and obviously the pro-choice women. But I think she completely ignored men, and that's where she lost big time. It's men.
I kind of agree with you that, but I think it's her biggest mistakes was that she didn't really go on any shows. She didn't really start talking to anybody to like a month later, even though she started so late in it. And I think on top of it, she used Biden's team to campaign team, and the fact that she kept on talking about Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney. Like that was a
she overvalued what I mean. I guess she thought that they would be very valuable to her campaign, but already they had been part of the January 6th hearings committee. I mean, you weren't going to get any Republicans because of Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney. They had already abandoned them.